Hello, everyone, and welcome to GNCC Live. I'm Rodney Tom along with Fred Andrews and Megawatt Matt Watson as we bring to you today round number 5 of America's premier off-road racing championship, the 2015 AMSOIL GNCC presented by Maxxis, an AMA national championship. And, of course, this is the Limestone 100 GNCC, our first of 2 stops in the great state of Indiana. And guess what greets us here in Indiana in the spring? It's rain, my friends, and unfortunately, it might get a little bit sloppy out there, and whether or not it's going to be the worst we've seen so far this year, we do know one thing: it's not going to be the best as far as conditions are concerned. What about the racing? Man, the tides could really turn here today, and I know there's a lot of things going on down there on Pro Row. Ready to go, and we get set. One final look at our top as they make their way here this afternoon. Round number 5 of the GNCC Championship Series. Just the cars are coming out today as we've had some 300 plus already on the day and 150 ready this afternoon. Turn to the first turn read. To find their place on and get ready to carve the history of GNCC. Line first with second place to Maxxis fly. He rides aboard a CTS Pirate MX the Honda from Virginia. 21 McGill. Roll line today, second in points with as well from Rogers, Ohio, and Pro Yamaha by Max and Motorsports Walker Fowler. Rolling third today as Walker makes the starting line now. Rolling third today, he number 16. He hails Ohio, a former pro champion, sophomore here in his second year of racing on a Maxxis Neal Motorsports back. Rolling to the line today, first podium from Casca, Pennsylvania. Our ATV rider, the Sneaky Snake. To the line next. Rides aboard the number. He is a 6 GAV champion from Pennsylvania on a Maxxis fly. Back Yamaha, Chris Borridge. To the day 6. He rides aboard the number 9. Injured his shoulder just 2 weeks ago in South Carolina. Out to try to make a point in the championship bid out of Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. The sophomore backed by Coastal Drilling, Yamaha, Moto Experts, LSR, and Custom. James Shadron. Rolling line next. He rides. He is 6 points from Pennsylvania on a Bethel Racing Maxxis. Chris Bethel. Rolling. Rides aboard 16, currently 8th in points. He is Johnny GNCC from Aurora, BBC, Jim F. Rolling to the line next in points. Aboard the Colt, Hopedale, Ohio. Want to be in our Yamaha. Yo-ho. Rolling to the line, 10 points. He rides aboard the number 14. A former youth standout on a show hauler, Max's Cycle Barn, back in the wall. And rolling to a GNC standout for many a year from Medina on a fast track. Wolf Race Honda, Brian Wall. To the line next. He rides aboard the number 13. He hails from Akron, Ohio, being on this Yamaha, John Barrett. And last, certainly not least, riding aboard the number 934 from out of Marietta, Team Woodhead, racing back Honda, Brayden Henthal. And that is your lineup for this, the Limestone 100 GNCC, round 5 of this AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series, presented by Maxis, as the masses once again begin to converge here in the GNCC race. Inclement weather, they're out in full force once more today, and you're going to see it all across 10+ miles of race course that is laid out before these riders today. Some rocky terrain that has seen lots of rain. Well, not lots of rain, but enough rain in order to make it a little more difficult to traverse. It is also postponed by 1/2 hour due to the morning 10 o'clock having their struggle earlier, heavier rain showers. Well, the rain is light, just missed, but the damage is done. And of course, the trail is already taking a beating this morning, and it is about ready to take one more with the likes of this afternoon race that is coming up. As we told you, some 100+ riders up the starting line at this particular time. Over 300 riders here this morning between our youth and, of course, a morning class race. And then this afternoon, we'll have micro 50cc racing, ATV event here this afternoon with both our 4 wheels and 2 wheels 50cc. Folks, all attention turning to Ricky Towery now as he informs our riders starting line that we now have 1 minute before the start. The Limestone 100 GNCC, and now is whenever the anticipation begins. The hearts begin to as riders are more than you will ever know anxious to tackle this first turn. Adam getting some last-minute instructions as he is to the far end starting line. Top rather unique line as well. For making its way down all the way into that first rather unique start as we sing as the blue flag is out, and we're less than 30 seconds from going GNCC racing. We got to shut them down, guys. Shut them down as we go. Ask you, Indiana race fans, are you ready to go GNCC race? Come on, Indiana. You folks love GC more than that. And I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go? Limestone 1 GNCC racing! 10 seconds. Number 1, the C1 Pro up and rolling at the Zone 100 GNCC. $250. Whole shot up for grabs. Looks like that one's not going to be long. Adam McGill this time out of the hole.
as it's going to be the number 4 of the Sneaky Snake, Jared, who made earlier this morning in pre-race interviews that he is somewhat accustomed to these muddy conditions. Not a problem at all with him as we get set to roll the XC2 Pro-Am. 24 riders off this row. Cole Richardson, Marty Christoph, Marley, Randy Hamilton, James Green, Wes Kinsley, John Gate, Levi Cohen, Rob Tornes, Tommy Coots, Luke Shepard, Cody Collier, Danny Rogers, Johnson, Stephen Golden, Cameron Bruce, Nathan Wall, Cunningham, Michael Lancaster, Brad Amon, Jake Stone, Christopher O'Neill, ready to roll. Cameron Bruce out of Darlington, Pennsylvania. BNR gets a jump off time. But I think that's to the whole shot. We'll double check that. Early right now, though, we rolled for 3. Our college, some of the great up-and-comers coming from this right here. 16 to 21. Chris Kenny, also Jason Booms, Tyler Blackburn, Max Seagraves, Brandon, Corey Cos, Silverthorne, Noah Landis, Greg Covert, Austin Anthony Barnes, Steve Michael Cunningham, Andrew Wesley Wolf, Tyler Ware, James Cover, Bodie LeBeau. You're 22 plus coming up in this junior age plus. Poised and ready to tackle turn number 1. Talking about riders like Nathan Hornich, Paul, Yannick, also Zachary, Josh, Austin Parks, Kevin Patterson, Dustin Burkhammer, Stephen Coe, Nate Pollard, Dustin Piggott, and Brent, all ready to roll as we are less than seconds from rolling. And Ricky Towery, these riders up here for 4, lets them know where to go. GNCC race again. 10 seconds. A great jump off again. Clean for these riders as they into that first. Now the second turn, and we turn our attention down to the Vet A 28 plus class with riders like Todd Demery, Pierre Dinant, Kenneth Kelly, Whipple, Walmacher, Paul Schultz, Dustin Hendershot, Hannah, and Pierce, a couple of former ex-top greats in the past, as they are ready to tackle this Vet A 28 plus class. Ricky Tower, final instructions, and get to give some final instructions. As instructions are 10 seconds. The 28 plus off and roll. The senior A class will be rolling out. The AB is for riders 8 years of age and older, and the riders in this class also have children racing, including John Glotta, who raced this morning, son John, Aaron Delancey, Global, Jason Smith, Mark Batson from the Media All-Stars group, Rusty Reed, Jeremy Reeves, ready to go, as Ricky Towery says. 10 seconds. And they're on they go. Only 5, or actually 6 of these, but man, it's going to be a race to say the least. Jason Noble might have snuck in. See if we can. Nope, I think Noble did not make that whole shot in the early lead. 85, getting ready to roll to College Beach. Mila, Brandon Atkinson, Childers, Tyler Kisner, Carlson, Michael Schaefer, Brandon Mons, Austin, also Jonathan Cook, Justin, Jordan Neal, Gonzalez, Weston Scott, Tyler Krill, and also Peyton Wallace, Trace, Daniel Edwards, Frankie Egress, Blake Meyer, Austin, Braden Schick, Blaine Martin, Cody Wallace, Chandler Berner, Colin Gerber, James Sabella, Ben Metzinger, Rovas, and Tanner Wall. As we clear that first turn region, Ricky Tyrie's letting them know we're less than 30 seconds to go. 5, 3, 16 to 20. Themselves and wait for Ricky Tyrie's call. And the green waves on this one, and we, my friends, off and B, 16 to 21-year-old class with riders from Omaha, Nebraska, Delaware, Virginia, Riverdale, Indiana, Chapot, James Sabella, Bozeman, Montana. Glad to have all there. Junior B 22+ class. Brian LaRue, Brett Fike, Dustin Cowan, Travis Spencer, Licky, Chase Levy, Alan Tyler Willie, Caleb Bailey, and Ben P.P. DeMarco, Chasen Bush, Cody Wolford, Thomas Jones, Lane Corey, Annie McCalla, and Towery lets these Junior B riders know. Getting her done. Good position. And takes through the couple of turns as we now down to, I believe, our final on the start line, which is the plus class. Jeremy Todd Muscat, the Meyer man, is with us. Jason Rogers, Chris Peter Arbonese, also Casey Edwards, Westfall. Glad to have that man racing. Well, our first. And Ronnie actually has cancer. Glad to have him still out here with us. John South, Daniel Webb, Zachary Hobbs, also Brian Law, Reed, and Philip Thayer. Our 30+ class. And on this one, and we are off and rolling. That 60 hammer. A Marlboro man scale. I actually look to have this one down. Didn't want to get kind of checked up with racing to get it all sorted out. And right now, we check this. We've over 150 now making their way to the train of Indy. Folks, enjoy yourself and get ready to back and enjoy 2 hours of great racing action as we bring to you here on Racer Common in beautiful Indiana. We're on GNCC Live for this.
This Racer TV live broadcast is brought to you by Amsoil, the first in synthetics. By Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. by Maxxis Tires. Find your flow. And powered by Yamaha Generators.
Hi, welcome back everyone here to the Limestone GNC 100. I'm here with Matt Megawatt on a beautiful day here in Indiana.
I tell you what, it started out as a beautiful day, and it still is a beautiful day, Fred. Temperature dropping just a little bit, but you know what? The bikes and the bodies will work good today.
Yeah, you know, today's going to be a really good day. It's going to be real muddy out there today. The start was really important out there. The track's kind of through the woods, and it is a riding park here, so the trails are already there, but our guys are going to have a real good day today. Goggles are going to be a big thing. I mean, the pit crew is going to have to be ready for each guy to have goggles on. Gloves will be a thing. Come in and switch the gloves maybe at the gas stop, but I'm looking for probably a little bit longer lap today, Matt, with the mud and all that.
Oh, I would think we're going to slow things down a little bit with the conditions. Like you said, Fred, it's going to be critical to have grip. We're going to have to keep the gloves clean, the controls clean, and vision. Vision's going to be the key to the whole thing today. A clean track ahead of you is going to be a great advantage.
Yeah, I think if you get the start and get out there, get away from them, you're going to be able to keep your vision clean and all that, at least for the first lap, because with the enormous amount of riders we have today, we're going to have some lap traffic out there today, so you're going to have to deal with that also. But as you can see, you know, the rain is stopped. We did have a lot of rain earlier today, so the track is muddy. But with the four-wheelers going around, you know, they kind of polished the center groove off, and the loose dirt's kind of kicked off to the side, so it's not going to be as bad for them unless it starts raining, and then
takes
all
a
the water's
toll on
gonna
your
fill up.
engine.
And
Extreme
you can see, here's our
heat
leader
adds to the
coming through.
challenge. AMSOIL synthetic dirt bike oil synthetic base oils resist viscosity loss. The oil provides a protective film against wear to gears, bearings, and pistons in extreme simulation.
Well, Matt, here, as you can see, we got some of the guys coming through the wood right now. It's really hard to tell who they are with all the mud on them, but you know, you can see it's not as muddy as what we'd expect with the amount of rain that we had. We're supposed to get more later on today, so it may get a little muddier than it is right now, but the track really looks like it's in pretty good condition.
I think the key, Fred, is going to be throttle control. I think that first inch or so is really going to be slick, and of course there's going to be traction underneath, but I think it's really going to be a finesse kind of day.
Well, there goes our leaders through right there, and man, I'm not sure who that was. But you can see, you know, they're really not that muddy out there, and he's got his goggles off right now, so his pit crew's probably going to be looking for him to stop, you know, because it's important. If you get mud in your eyes out there, you're not going to be able to see, so your vision's going to be a big deal. So I would look for him to stop in the pits and get some new goggles. And, you know, Matt, look at that uphill right there. The roots are already starting to come out. Those guys are digging down deep in this dirt because it's soft from the rain, and they're starting to bounce all around there, so traction may be a little consideration too on them uphills. Yeah, and you can see right there the GNCC crew put in a fresh spot right there. That's all virgin soil with just a little bit of leaves and some rock in there. So they've done their work. We're not actually running all the same tracks that you would come here if you came here to trail ride. So the crew's been busy trying to give us the best track they can for today. And, you know, they're out there in spots I think there are going to be too muddy. They'll route them around and give us some new sections to make sure all the racing's good for us. And I didn't get a start time, but when they went around, but I'd be interested to see how long the laps are going to be today, because I know last race, the laps were a little bit longer, and, you know, the pit crews had to kind of figure out how the gas was going to work out, so that's a big factor here after the first lap for them guys to figure out.
I believe strategy even came into play for a couple riders last round due to the mud, a couple little miscalculations and that type of thing, so very critical here today, Fred.
Yes, it is, and as we're waiting for this is the 7-mile marker here, we're waiting for them to come through there. And we got a guy coming here. I'm not sure if this is the leaders, if the leaders have already come through or not.
Now, Fred, you mentioned vision. I know you're a past champion of all kinds of disciplines. No matter what you rode, you always rode in mud. Did you prefer roll-off on top or tear-offs on top of a roll-off and that kind of setup? How did you prepare for vision?
Well, yeah, you know, on the first, for the start, I would always wear roll-offs for sure all the time because I was just dead set I had to have those on there. And I would put a tear-off on over top just for the start because, you know, you get a little splash and you're kind of grouped up. And, I mean, I would try to keep that tear-off on there as long as I could. But when I did have to peel it off, you know, I'd peel it off, and then I would have my X brand roll-offs on there, and you know, from then on it's clear vision the whole way. You could come in and you just have one little stripe right across the center, and people will say, man, how can you see? But when you're out there racing and you're focused on what you're doing, man, you don't need a lot of vision. You know, just give you that little clear strip and keep on going after it.
Yeah, for sure. You're not looking at that full peripheral deal. What you need to do is focus on the track ahead, and that, with that slot of vision, that provides exactly what you need. Now, a lot of guys have their preferences on how they do as the track progresses, but I was with you. I always preferred to know that I had a full roll of film.
Yeah, you know, the roll-offs are there. You can get 20, 30 pulls with those. You know, with the tear-offs, you couldn't get that many, but now with the new laminate system, they can probably put 30, you know, tear-offs on there. So every time you pull one, you do have clear vision. So I'm a little old school, new school. These guys are probably wear, you know, the new laminate systems on them, and that way they can have clear vision the whole time. But like I said, back in the day, they didn't have that for us, and we used what we had, and it worked. And
well, we thought roll-offs were the craziest thing we'd ever seen, Fred.
yeah, you know, a lot of people said they'd never work, and you know, and they were a little bit hectic if you didn't get them on right, if you didn't tape the little canister bottoms on. Sometimes you would pull them and the whole thing would come off, and you'd see a guy going down with a streamer on, and then you had that streamer, and if a guy would run over it, it'd about yank you off the bike. So maybe the new laminate system is a little bit better, but you know, I think probably what these guys will have on there today. But with the laminates, you got to worry about the water getting in behind them, and then it gets in between them, and then it's no good. So you know, it's a catch-22.
When that water gets behind that laminate, you're looking through the fish tank then.
Yeah, yeah, it's a catch, but you know, these guys will make do. And sometimes, you know, you do have to take your goggles off so you can see, and then, you know, then you got to watch the roost from the guy in front of you, and not also the roost, but you got to watch for all the leaves, because you never think about it. You're going in there and you duck your head, and a leaf hits it, and it's got water on it, or mud, and that also gets in your eyes. So there's a lot of things to think about in a mud race. You know, the main thing is you don't want to dive into a mud hole without kind of surveying the area, see what looks good, what looks bad, and if you ever think, I don't know, it's better off to let a guy go through there and let him make it, and then you can follow him and lose 5 seconds rather than just jump in there and get yourself buried and then lose the whole race.
Oh, yeah, it's important to charge, but you have to pick the spots you can do that in a race like this.
Yeah, you know, another thing today is going to be with radiators on those bikes. Everybody's going to be throwing up all the dirt, and their radiators are going to start to get clogged. So you don't really want to be right on somebody if you're racing with them, because you don't want to clog your radiators all up. So you kind of got to lay back a little bit. But on that also, when you're laying back, then if they mess up, you're not there to pounce on them to make that pass. So it's a catch-22 on that also.
Yeah, people talk about the conditions all the time in the preparations, but let me tell you, you have to prepare the bike, the body, the mind, everything for conditions like we see here today.
Yeah, it's definitely just not one thing. It's a whole series of things. You got to get ready for this race a week early with hydration, getting your bike ready, doing all your training, getting worked out. And then when you come here on a day like today, you know, everybody hates the mud, and then you got to get that mindset out of your head. You got to say, you know what, it's the same for all of us. We're going to go after it. We're going to do the best we can, because if you go into it saying, you know, I don't like mud, I'm not going to do good, you won't do good. You know, I like the mud. When I came to a mud race, I was excited because I knew I didn't have to wash my bike, clean my gear. I was going to go out there and have a lot of fun, and when it was, you know, when it was over, I had a mechanic to clean all my stuff up and go on. And that's the way these top guys probably are thinking too. You know, you got to have fun with what you're doing. If you go in there and you don't like it, you know, you're not going to do good. So they're going to be in that state of mind. You know, I'm sure Borch is out there right now, Walker Fowler and Cole Richardson, all them guys, they're like, this is going to be fun. We're going to have fun. We're going to ride around. We're going to throw some mud, and it's going to be a good day.
Well, that PMA is very important, that positive mental attitude. Like you said, I was always an average rider, but when it got muddy, I knew that a lot of the fast guys would lose it mentally, and just toughness was going to get you through.
Yep, and you know, it's important. Like you said, you got to be mind strong. And as you can see, the 7-mile marker here, this track's really not rutting out here in these fields, Matt. They're kind of just getting hard and slippery, and guys are sliding around. So I was thinking we'd get a little bit deeper with these quads, but then also they can only go so deep because they start hitting the skid plate. And look how nice, I mean, these woods are beautiful. We've got nice green grass and some nice trees, and it's a really nice riding park.
Yeah, it absolutely looked like topsoil right there, coming through a fresh section, just getting turned over on the first lap, so really going to develop nice.
Yes, it is. And right now, I think our leaders should be coming by pretty soon. We're at the 5-mile marker there, and we show the 7. I'm not sure how long the track was today. Well, it's a 9.5 mile track today, so that's a pretty good track. We're probably going to be looking 20, 25 minutes. That's usually what they try to make them, because a 4 or 5 lap race is my guesstimation of what it would be today. And look at these guys here; they're not even really muddy, so it looks like maybe the first guys have gone through, slung that little bit of goop off the top, and we're riding on hard ground right now. So these guys are staying pretty clean in the back section.
Yeah, that last shot was a great indication, because you went from shiny slick into that new traction. So, we're going to see this thing change for the next 2 hours.
As you saw right there, too, there's actually more than one line on this uphill. These guys can either catch a line early or you can go all the way around. So, when you're riding races like this, even though it's muddy, you got to be looking out there far ahead and look for lines as they develop during the day, because, just because you took a line one lap doesn't mean it's going to be good the next. And the track kind of tends to open up a little bit with these guys going around. They get in a big group and somebody gets stuck on a hill, another guy will make a new line. So you always have to be looking out for lines out there.
Yeah, follow the leader always turns into a bad situation. So that new line, that option right there, a lot of times going to move you up a couple positions, or at the very least keep you out of a problem.
There's another guy coming through there. Like I said, the grounds were looking really good right there. Let's talk about other things in there today. Last week's race. Walker put in a good ride. Walker came back and did what he needed to do. Chris Borge had a rough go at it.
I believe 6th place, something like that, and then dropped out maybe.
Talking with people, he really wasn't happy with how his setup was for that race. He had a good ride the race before. He kind of thought he knew which direction he wanted to go. He changed a little setup on his bike, and I don't know if his bike wasn't working as well as he wanted to because he didn't have a good ride. But, I'm sure Chris has worked on that for the last 2 weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see. With the mud in here, it always is like the equalizer. Even if your bike isn't working correct, nobody's is, because it's got so much extra mud on there. His bike's not the way you're normally used to riding it.
Absolutely. And one thing we didn't touch on, Fred, in these conditions, the amount of weight the quad takes on is really going to change everything from the handling to how tired you get as a rider.
Yep, and I think right here they're coming to the finish line right now. We'll see who our top guys are. Man, because from the back we can't really tell with all this mud, man. We're going to have to check the screen out.
Looks like we have Walker Fowler lead right now. He's got about a 3-second lead over Chris Bithell.
Wow, and they got a heck of a lead here right now, man. Look at these. They've really seemed like they've really gapped the rest of the guys. And, that can happen for a number of reasons, whether somebody got stuck on one of the hills and held everybody back, or somebody got stuck in one of the single track sections, and, that has enabled the leaders to get out there and put ourselves a little bit of distance on them.
Yeah, obviously Walker has a clear track. Chris only has one rider in front of him. Everybody else has a bunch of riders in front of him.
Yeah, it looks like Bryce Neal coming in 3rd, and Chris Borge in 4th, and Jared Sneaky Snake McClure in 5th. And actually, it looks like Bithell is about 24 seconds over Bryce Neal. So the leaders have already got a little bit of advantage going into this after the first lap. And I think we can go to a commercial break right now.
Sounds good.
General RV is going to help you go camping with locations across the nation and thousands of RVs to choose from. General RV is the nation's largest family-owned RV dealer. At General RV, you'll save thousands on everything from trailers that sleep the whole family right up to motorhomes that are amazing and so economical to travel in. General RV is the only dealer who can show you this much and save you this much. With a great deal from General RV, you'll discover how much fun camping can be.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here from the Limestone 100 GNCC in Springville, Indiana at the Lawrence County Recreation Park, home of the Abate of Indiana. Rodney Tomlin along with Fred Andrews and Megawatt Matt Watson, man, doing some great coverage there. Want to welcome him on board the Racer TV lineup. And Fred, I tell you what, man, we've got ourselves a great battle already starting to shape up as Walker Fowler is leading this one. At the end of one, I only had a 3-second lead over Chris Bithell. Bithell is a rider that, man, I was talking with him earlier today. He's on fire. He's ready to make things happen, and he also says that this very well could be his last full year of competition in GNCC racing. So it's kind of like a farewell tour for him, and he's trying to make hay while the sun shines, or whatever, when the rain's coming down, whatever the case may be, as it is here in Indiana. But Chris Bithell also stating the fact, working a normal job, 60 hours a week, doesn't have a lot of time to train. He says, I'm great for an hour and a half. It's that last 30 minutes that kill me. But right now, the first half hour, or at least the first 23 minutes and 13 seconds of his race today has been quite an astounding one, as he has kept toe right there with Walker Fowler, who is obviously one of the key players here. Bryson Neal in the number 3 spot. Look at this, Chris Borich finally up in contention for a possible top 5 or maybe even a podium spot in the early part of this race. He had some struggles with some steering stems and suspension at the last race. We saw him struggle to a 6th place finish, but that was a remarkable finish regardless if you knew the conditions that he was riding in. Jared McClure, who got the whole shot, the whole sneaky snake, files back to the number 5 spot. Brian Wolf is running 6th. Landon Wolf, one of our younger riders, in the number 7 spot with Braden Hinthorn in 8th, Kevin Yoho in 9th, and old Johnny GNCC himself, Johnny Gallagher, rounds out the top 10. And already, Fred, I tell you, it's been an eventful race, and like I say, only about 20
what the shocker is, Rodney, is Adam McGill. He didn't get his patented good start. He's back there in like 11th place.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what Adam McGill has in store for today, whether he's going to be able to dig down deep and get through these guys on this muddy condition, dodge all the mud and get to the front, because Walker Fowler, Bithell, Neal, Borich, McClure, they're not going to wait for him. They're going to freaking keep on pounding to the front, so he's going to have to really ride a super race if he's going to try to catch those leads.
He most certainly is, and this right here will be the true test that we're going to get to see for Adam McGill as to whether or not he is ready to win a championship, Fred. I hate to put it like that, but you know as well as I do, yep. You can be winning and not be ready to win a championship. It's when you take a day like today and we see what the results are after today, that's where the true championships are, I think, built on days like today.
Yeah, for sure, Rodney, because, Adam's been up front. He's had himself in the position that he needed to be every race. He needed top 3 or whatever. He was there. He was with the leaders every time. Well, now he's not. The leaders are probably maybe 45, 50, maybe a minute.
They're almost 2 minutes. I was just doing some calculations here.
So
we got a couple of big gaps here. First and second are real tight, about 4 seconds apart. Then another 25 seconds back to third to Bryson Neal. And then all the way back here in 7th place, between 6th and 7th place, where Landon Wolf and Brian Wolf are running. Brian in 6th, Landon in 7th. There's a minute and 11 seconds. So you start doing the math right there, you're already at a minute and a half. Plus, and then you add the 2s and the 5s up. We're right close to 2 minutes that Adam is looking at between himself and Walker Fowler physically on the racetrack right now.
Man, that is a huge gap for the first lap, for Adam to be making up. But like you said, Rodney, this is where a champion steps up, where he says, okay, the cards are against me. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to push hard all day long. I'm going to put myself back up in the front where I need to be, and I'm going to get the most points I can. So it'll be interesting to see this next lap how many riders he's actually passed.
Yeah.
Where on a normal day, with the dust and normal good conditions, it's pretty easy to follow guys and get around them and move on. Well, right now with this mud, the mud's going to be flying. His goggles are going to be getting dirty. His radiators are going to get clogged up. His bike's going to be running hot if that happens. So he's going to have to be smart when he's trying to pass these guys, and he's going to have to get by them without minimal damage to himself or the bike with the mud.
That's it. And also just want to remind you folks, you might have saw it there on the screen a few moments ago if you're watching at home on racertv.com. Don't forget to tweet your podium finish predictions to hashtag GNCC Live for a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL product. The winner will be chosen randomly. But the thing to point out is the fact that get your choices in. It don't have to be right. Just we want to know who you're rooting for out there, who you think is going to be able to pull it off today. As Walker Fowler, speaking of pulling it off, pulls into the pits right now, and he's by himself as we take a look at him coming into this area. A little bit of spray going on and a little bit of mishap, it looks like, there in the pits. I've seen one of his crew members go down there, so action's pretty tight in the Walker Fowler pits. Where is that second place ride? I mean, he was only 3 seconds behind, unless I missed something going on there. I know we got some camera glitches going on. And folks back home, we do apologize for this. Bithell may have already gone through it, but
that's Brian
Wolf.
Is that Brian Wolf? Yep.
Wow. So Wolf is in. Wolf was actually back in the number 6 spot. So we're seeing some big changes taking place, it looks like, here. But again, apologizing for the technical difficulties that we are experiencing with these inclement conditions. It appears that some of our waterproofing may not have gotten into some of these. Either that or something's causing some issues with the weather, and we're going to have some choppy video. That's something we are working on right now, just as they are working
Rodney,
on.
if nobody's coming around, Walker Fowler has got a huge lead.
Yeah.
It looks like, Brian Wolf might have some trouble there with his rear wheels or something. They got some tires set up. But as you notice, when Walker Fowler came in, Rodney, he did the main thing. He got fresh goggles. You got to keep your eyes clean. You got to keep the mud out. If you can't see, you can't go. And then he had a bucket there. He put his hands down in the bucket to wash the mud off his hands so he could grab the grips. And you can see all the rest of the guys are doing the same thing. They're all coming in for goggles because on a day like today, that could end your day really quick, and you don't want that to happen. So get some fresh goggles on and get going.
No doubt about that, Fred Andrews. I'm going to call out on the racetrack right now and see if I can find out what's going on. We're starting to see some riders turn their way through the pro pits right now. I just want to check and see if there's anything that might have taken place to spread these guys out, because honestly, looking at this, either A, those 2 riders have come in a little early into the pits for whatever reason, or B, everyone else has gotten held up out on the course someplace. Now, I know there's a big mud hole right after the finish line, and right behind the pro pits, and that might be part of the issues and problems that we were recognizing there. But watching this one unfold right now, we're going to try to get it all sorted back out for you, Fred. But just watching this pro row, looks like all the teams are going to be busy on this first lap.
Yeah, Rodney, for sure. Everybody's going to be coming in for their rider, getting some fresh goggles, or just even checking the bikes out, because it looks like everybody's having a little bit of struggle out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how Walker, and I'm not sure if Bithell was still with him or not, but how Walker got so far ahead, this first lap, which is, we know when you're out front, you get a clean lap going. He's got no traffic. He's got nobody throwing mud on him. Everything he hit looks like it's going his way. So he got in there, got in the pits, got some new goggles, got his hands washed up, and he's ready to get going for the rest of the day.
All right, just got the word off of the track. I guess there was maybe a little confusion out there for some of the XC2 Pro-Am guys, but Barry Hawk told me when they came past the PowerPoint, Chris Bithell was actually leading Walker Fowler, so we may have missed Chris going through that section. Again, with the glitches and a lot of the things going on, we may have missed a few things, so give us a few moments. We pick them back up at about the 5-mile marker. We'll be able to give you a little better heads up as to what's taking place. But, man, again, they're busy in there. Like you said, I mean, they're spraying out mud. There's a lot of things can happen on a mud day, and especially on an ATV, man. These things can carry a lot of mud in a lot of different places and pack up, well, and cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, right. And like we said earlier, I mean, the radiators are the main thing. You got to keep those things clean right now and try not to be up on the guy so close. But, even with the camera glitches that we have going on right now, Rodney, it's still great coverage for the weather we have. You can't see from the screen, but right now it's misting and it's raining. It's really nasty conditions, and probably the best place to be is out there on that quad racing around out there. The pit crew's got to stand around and stand in all this rain, and you're just out there having a good time on your quad out there in the mud. And you can see this section here, this ground's really getting polished up and starting to get slippery through this nice grass section right here, and they're making a big old hairpin and coming at us. So we've got a really nice track going here, and the weather's really not affecting it a whole lot at this point, Rodney. It's this downpour we're supposed to get later on. If it comes right before the finish of the race, that could change everything. But now the track's really in good shape.
It is. I mean, it's a little sloppy and a little greasy on top. The one thing to point out, we've had some heavier sprinkles, but I wouldn't necessarily say that we've had a full-scale rain. We've had basically a mist or a light sprinkle all morning that is creating a little bit of sloppy conditions on top. Now, I know out in the woods and places, the ground was already, and all around really, the ground was already moisture-ridden basically with the spring snows and rain showers that we've been receiving, but they're starting to really chop up out in the woods. I was talking with Brandon Summers, who's a former XC1 Pro, was racing in the sportsman class this morning. He was telling me, he said, man, the first 2 laps were great. He said it was a smooth track. You could slide in and out of the turns. It was good and slick, and, you know, it was just a lot of fun. But lap 3 and 4, man, turned into just a whole different world out there.
You know, Rodney, I'm not sure right there if that's Chris Bithell, I think.
Yep,
looks like he is leading, so we did miss him coming into the pit, so he's even got a huge lead.
Yes, and a pretty monumental one at this point. Remember, Walker Fowler was in the pits 30-plus, maybe 45 seconds that they were trying to get him back out onto the track. So with that being said, you know, we're looking at a fairly monumental gap, I think, between the first and second place positions. We see some bikes coming through here, Fred, but I don't necessarily think that there goes well, that's some riders that may have gotten around. That's actually Bryce, no, that's the number 4, wasn't it?
Man, Rodney, I can't tell with all that mud
I think
going
it was
on,
the number 4. It is, and that's Jared McClure, the Sneaky Snake. If we look back, I think he was running in a solid top 5 position at the end of that first lap, but now he is, even still solid, it looks like, even with all the changes we've had going on. It's going to take a couple moments for us to get things re-sorted here, I think, but I think as the time goes on, we're going to be able to figure this out, Fred, and I know that we've also got a little bit of an issue, Dan the man, with our scoring computer over here, so I don't know if we can get that organized and we can check out with some of these other classes or not, but
you know, if you notice Chris Bithell coming through that infield area, he was no goggles on, he's looking around, he's looking for the rest of the guys, so he's going to be catching some slower riders now, so that would be a concern to me, that watching the roots from all that mud.
Yep.
You know, because if he gets any little bit of mud in his eyes, you can't see, and there goes that lead he did have. You know, he could lose it. But if he can hold on to it, maybe come in the next lap and get himself some fresh goggles and some fuel, he should be good for the day.
Yes, and, you know, that's you got to wonder, man. I mean, if maybe he might have just let all the pressure off himself. As I told you this morning, he told me, you know, working 60 hours a week and racing GNCC, and it's really, really tough. So this is his last full dedicated year to trying to chase some points in the championship. Next year, he said he's going to hit some of his favorite tracks, hit and miss here and there in the XC1 Pro class. But, you know, maybe that lifting of that pressure that he was applying to himself to try to perform might have been the ticket that he was looking for. I mean, now he's out here just having fun, and whenever you have fun, regardless of the conditions, whether they're perfect or whether like they are today, when you're having fun, man, you seem to excel, because a mistake, you don't worry about them. You just go out and do what you do best, and that's ride.
Yeah, Rodney, you know, that's why we all started doing either riding a motorcycle or riding a quad. We did it because it was fun. You know, and then you go from fun, you're like, well, you know, maybe I want to try racing, but you always have to keep your racing fun. I mean, that's what I tried to do. If it wasn't fun, then it becomes a job and you hate what you're doing. So every time I got on my bike, it was fun, whether it was just going trail riding or coming to a GNCC and racing. You got to have it fun to keep yourself going. And I'm sure all these guys love riding, and the mud even makes it a little bit more fun to be, you know, for me, because I didn't like the mud. Everybody would say, oh, it's muddy, it's not going to be fun. But, you know, mud's a lot of fun because so many things can change. The lines change, the track changes every lap. It's not always the same, you know, just riding a groove and go. It's slippery, it's fun, you know. I just love the mud.
There's a certain element to it, I guess, that really makes it interesting because, like you say, I mean, their conditions aren't perfect. And I imagine that certain lines that didn't work before probably work, and lines that were working won't work at all. So it really changes the pace of the race up. But you got to start thinking. You're not riding.
You got to think.
You're not riding as fast, but you got to think faster, man.
Yeah. You're always got to be thinking because you got to go inside, outside. The ruts are getting deep. You got to start squaring the corners off to get through the ruts, and it's a different kind of race because it's a smarter man's race. It's just not who can go the fastest on a smooth track, you know, with hills and stuff. It's who can go the fastest and think the quickest and get through all the bad situations. And you know what? There's a lot of spectators out there too. When you get to a mud hole, each lap it's different. So that's something you think about in your head. You're like, oh no, I got this mud hole coming up. I wonder how bad it's getting. But if you have a pit crew or somebody there that you know, it always makes it easier because then you never have to worry about that spot.
Well, I'll tell you what, we got some good things happening throughout our entire top 20 overall right now. As we told you at last check, and obviously this has changed, it was Chris Bithell, or actually Walker Fowler ahead of Chris Bithell at the finish line, but Bithell's out front. Walker's a few positions back. We see, I think, Bryson Neal is now up to the number 2 spot. Chances are, I'm not going to throw the bank at it, but I would bet that Chris Borch is probably up to the number 3 spot now, as Walker Fowler has at least 4th or 5th place position. I see Jerry McClure, so I think he's even ahead of Walker Fowler. So I'm going to put Walker, estimating him about a 5th place position right now. Brian Wolf, 6th. Cole Richardson, who is your XC2 Pro-Am class leader, is 7th overall right now. Blake Tornes, who is 42 seconds behind him, runs 8th overall. Then we go down to the 3rd place in that class. Kevin Cunningham, the 744 out of Greensburg, Indiana. He's running in 11th place overall. To give you an idea, that puts Adam McGill now from 11th place in class to 14th place overall position on the racetrack, which we do score the national title, national championship on overall points. So at this point, Fred, it's even worse than what it was a few moments ago with an 11th place position. So he's got his work cut out for him. We see also looking down through the ranks a little bit, we see 4th place A.J. Kuntz. We saw him on the podium first race this year. Marty Christopherson, one of the top performers from last year, is running in that number, I believe, 5 spot. Then Cody Collier, that young rider that made history in the morning class races and then made the big step up there late last year into College A for the last race and then right into this Pro-Am class. He's running top 20 overall. He's 6th place in class. But here's the getter, right? Here's the one that'll get you. Wesley Wolf and Greg Covert. 5.2 seconds separating those two riders from the College A 16 to 24-year-old class. Your top amateurs right now. Well, Wesley Wolf, the 741 machine, is 18th overall. Greg Covert is 19th overall. So it looks like we got ourselves not only a good battle with only 5 seconds separating those two, but a battle that may take them even further up into the top 20 overall with that kind of intensity. So, Fred, with that being said, we'll give a chance for these guys to get it sorted out. I'm going to run through some of these classes real quick to give you everybody an idea where their riders back home, if you're watching back home or if you're listening out in the pits on 94.1, where everyone happens to be standing right now in their classes, and give us an idea. Well, I would if my computer didn't freeze up whenever I pressed next class.
You know, something I really noticed riding was pretty cool. When these quad guys go in the turn, since they do have 4 wheels, they come in there, they're freaking 2 wheels sliding it and cool. And look, there goes Bithell right by there.
Wow.
So we can get ourselves a little split time to tell you who's in 2nd place and maybe even how far ahead they are. And he still doesn't have of course he's got no goggles on, but man, he looks like he's riding with some serious speed right here. He's not.
He does.
He's just freaking going after it, and up that hill he goes, and it looks like he's got his Suzuki working really well out there today.
Wow, I'm telling you, it's a whole new Chris Bithell out there riding with us right now. That is an amazing feat for this rider, and I'm not going to attribute any of it, none of it to the conditions themselves. I'm contributing it all to the mindset of the rider. Bryson Neal checking in now. What's the gap?
30 seconds, 30-second gap right there. So he's got a nice little bit of lead.
Was that the number 1 that just went through? I just saw another rider, and that
looked
would
like
make
yellow
sense.
riding gear.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was. Let's try to check it a little closer. That might have been your leader, or not your leader, but your champion, defending champion of Chris Borch. It don't look like him.
No, I don't think he does.
It didn't look like his body style or English on that, but we couldn't quite get the number on that. I was assuming that might be the position that he should be in right now. But again, in the game of GNCC, you know what it says whenever you assume. You don't want to assume anything because there are way too many things that can take place out there.
Yeah, especially on a muddy day like today. You know, these positions can change all day long. It's never over till we get to that finish line. And once we get that white flag, you know, we'll see how they're sorted out. But it's never over till we get to the end. And the track's starting to get a little bit rougher here. These guys look like they're starting to dig down in and start bumping around and moving around a little more. And there's definitely a lot of guys going around, riding around out there without their goggles on. So these pit crew guys should be ready with goggles and gloves for when they do stop for fuel, because I'm sure that everybody's going to want fresh goggles.
Oh, most definitely. I think goggles are certainly a must here today. There's not much of a question in that. As we got a chance now, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these other classes. With our XC2 Pro-Am class, Cole Richardson leading Blake Tornes. There was 42 seconds between those two. Kevin Cunningham, the 744, was running in 3rd. A.J. Kuntz running in the number 4 spot aboard the 45. Marty Christopherson rounded out the top 5. He's out of Richford, New York. Cody Collier out of Carroll, Ohio, running in 6th on the 201. The 316 of Ryland Johnson out of Rector, Arkansas. is running in the number 7 spot. 19, Fred Marley, right here out of the Hoosier State, out of Osgood, Indiana, running in the number 8 position. The Golden Child, Stevie Golden, the Ford 13 from Morgantown, West Virginia, is 9th. And Levi Cohen, former youth national champion, finally making some waves in the XC2 Pro-Am classes, running in the number 10 spot. Fred, I'm going to challenge you to watch Levi Cohen. We're seeing him in the top 10 today, but I think as the season progresses, we're going to see a lot of leaps and bounds in this guy's progression as far as trying to become a factor in this XC2 Pro-Am class. College A class, Wesley Wolf, Greg Covert, your top 2 amateurs overall right now, 18th and 19th place position again, 5.2 seconds separating those guys, a 25:53 lap time, so they're running somewhere in the neighborhood about 50 seconds shy of what our leaders are. There is Chris Bithell again out near the 7-mile marker as he makes his way in. Look at that. That's still slick out there. It's starting to, actually, I think we've lightened up on some of that mist. I can't quite tell. There's still a slight mist out there. So
yeah, I'm not sure, Rodney, what this guy here was trying to do, whether he was trying to wipe him off or wipe his gloves off, or
he's telling him you got a big lead. You got a big lead, man. You got a big lead. Don't throw this away. Well, I can tell you right now, Chris Bithell's been in these situations.
He did
before.
give him a towel because he just threw it off right there on the screen. You can see that little white piece right there, right? That was a towel. So he did give him a towel, which is a good move because his hands are getting muddy because he's got no covers on, and that lets him get that mud off his hands, let him get his gloves as clean as he can do. That way he can hold on to that Suzuki as he's powering out there in the front. And, you know, like I say, it's getting slipperier and slipperier with these guys. They're starting to polish it more and more, and these guys are starting to get them sideways more, which is nice to watch on TV. As being a bike guy, you know, it's always a cool thing to see those guys doing that because we can't do that on a bike.
No, it's a whole different world out here as far as the 4 wheels are concerned. And as you can see, it's creating a totally different track surface than probably what we'll see created tomorrow, regardless if it rains or not tomorrow. A few guys getting towed in as we see some of our Indiana crew out and about with us out there. Man, these guys are working hard today. I know that we had a little bit of a delay in this afternoon start, and I was kind of shocked and surprised, but I guess as the race wore on, some things started to deteriorate in the track, and even the 4x4 pro riders in those types of conditions were turning 32-minute laps on the racetrack earlier this morning, Fred.
Yeah, right, and like I said earlier, today's a day, it's misting, it's rainy, it's really crappy out. Today's the day to be a rider because they are having fun. There ain't nobody in the pit crew out here standing out here. We're all getting wet. We're all cold. These guys are riding their bikes, having fun. Their body's keeping them warm. They're having way more fun than we are.
Oh, I guarantee you. I guarantee you. And right now, watching these riders check in at the 7-mile marker, looks like things are looking pretty solid. Let's go back and check with a few more of these classes, I believe. Junior A class, Dwight Pollard leading there, only a second and a half over Stevie Covert. Got a good race going on that Junior A class right now. Those guys turned 27:44 lap times for the leaders. Justin Paul was third aboard the number 40. Dustin Piggott is the 813 and fourth. He's out of Belleville, West Virginia. Brett Hinkey out of Vienna, West Virginia, the 896 is sixth. Nathan Hornacek from Norton, Ohio, the 32 and sixth. Seventh, the 532 of Dustin Burkhammer from Polka, West Virginia, home of the world famous polka dots. Also, and I'm not kidding either. Eighth place, the 365 of Zachary Dean out of Addison, New York. Ninth place, Kevin Patterson, the 444 from Barberville, Kentucky. And 10th place, Austin J. Parks from Mooresville, Indiana. That's your Junior A 22 plus class. As we look next at the Bet A 28 plus class, Matt Pierce, 939, a former XC2 Pro-Am rider a few years ago, is leading this class now by 19 seconds over the 806 of Dustin Hendershot. A former XC1 Pro class rider in, I think he's probably 44 years old or so now, at the number 38 out of Versailles, Indiana, one of the big names out of the Hoosier State. Todd Demery there, and Demery Motorsports back. Walter Schumacher, the 728, is running fourth. Eric Whipple, Don't Squeeze My Charmin, the 402 out of Oneida, New York, running in fifth. Paul Schulte, the 785 out of Harbor Beach, Michigan, is sixth. Pierre Dinol out of Quebec, Canada, is the seventh place ride in that Bet A 28 plus class. Heading down next to our next class, I believe we'll go to some B class racing now. Our computer lagging a little bit behind, I believe. It's slow too in the weather. Looks like Jeremy Reeves leading this next class we'll be taking a look at, the 775, the senior AB 38 plus class, some B riders. He's out of Carthage, Indiana. The 41, John Glott out of Waxhaw, North Carolina, is second. Mark Batson is a media all-star rider out of LaSalle, Michigan, 636 and third. Rusty Repass, the 705 of Mooresville, North Carolina. And then 5th place, 301, Jason Noble out of Davenport, Iowa. That's your senior A, B, 38 plus class. College B class, 35 riders, I think, in this class in all. Charlie Dawson and Chandler Berner running 1 and 2. There's 58 seconds separating the two. Dawson out of Lisbon, Ohio. Out of Bellington, West Virginia is Chandler Berner. 5:15, Jeremy Hill from Pacific, Missouri is running 3rd. The 5:96, Colin Gerber from Sugar Creek, Ohio is 4th. 4:17, Dylan Edwards out of Cottageville, West Virginia is the number 5 position. 1:16, Spencer Modlin from Omaha, Nebraska with Oldenburg, Indiana's Blake Meyer, the 4:57 in 7th. 8th place, 2:14, Brandon Barnes from Delray, West Virginia. 9th place, 5:25, Cody Wallace from Lamont Furnace, Pennsylvania. And rounding out the top 10, 9:26, Tanner Walker out of Berlin, Pennsylvania. Junior B, Cody Wolford, the 8:18 leading out of Dry Fork, West Virginia. I bet he wishes this was a Dry Fork today. 57.5 second lead over Brett Fike, the 171 out of Frostburg, Maryland. Brian Felicki, the 3:56 out of Poland, Ohio, is 3rd. 9:99, Danny McCullough out of Bloomington, Indiana, just up the road about 20 minutes from where we sit right now, runs in 4th. 5th place, 185, Dustin Cowan from Moline, Illinois. 6th place, 450, P.P. DeMarco. I love it, man. He never lets me forget that. Well, he didn't in the beginning of the year. Now he's probably wishing he did. But P.P. DeMarco out of Columbus, Ohio, home of the American Motorcyclist Association is where he lives. 450 is 6th. The 7th place, 148, Brian Leroux out of Linton, Indiana. Morrisville, North Carolina, home to Lane Corey, the 887, who runs in 8th. The Bet B30 plus, Adam Reed, Todd Muscala. Man, Muscala almost had the whole shot in that one. Marble Man was ripping going up into that first turn, then got a little out of shape. But believe it or not, in 2nd place, he's still almost 2 minutes behind Chad Reed, Adam Reed, who is leading. Muscala is 2nd. It is John Sousa only 2 seconds behind Muscala. Then Peter Arbanez is running 4th. Jeremy Gouchard in 5th. Jason Diller, the 119, is 6th. 7th place, Gregory Westfall. 8th place, Ronnie Bird. 9th place, Casey Edwards. 10th place, 703, Daniel Webb. And that's it. That's
you know, Rodney, while I was watching the screen here while you're going through the classes there, I believe Chris Bithell was still in the lead, and I think that is Chris Borch in 2nd place.
Wow. So he has.
If it was that way, it was only about a 15-second gap. But you know, they're coming through this bottom section here, and it looks. I mean, the dirt could not be any better right there.
No.
I mean, it's nice and groovy. And then 3rd looked like, I'm going on the limb, maybe Jared McClure.
That's a possibility. McClure is that. There is the number 4 machine checking in with us now, I believe. Or am I looking at that wrong? That is.
No, that's him. So that, I mean, I'm not sure who the 3rd place guy was. I'm only guessing because they're muddy.
That might have been Bryson Neal.
Yeah, so they were.
So that'd be McClure back in the number 4 spot, and he's got company right behind him. And, you know, we got to wonder and got to guess as to who that might be. And, you know, you still want to say Chris Borch, but it doesn't look like Chris Borch. Maybe it's who else is riding a Yamaha back there? There's a few other guys. We'll keep a closer eye on. I'm not convinced it's Chris. It looks nothing like Chris to me right now. 8 mile markers where we're looking at right now, Fred Andrews, and like you said, this is one of the nicer looking places on the racetrack. It's kind of shielded by some trees. It is a little wet, but it's not slick and getting soupy in like some of the places are.
Yeah, it's got that little bit of rock in there, a little riverbed in it, and the dirt's just, I mean, it looks really perfect. Couldn't get any better in that situation. And it's a beautiful setting with all that nice green foliage coming up now.
Man.
That spring's finally here, I think, even though I had snow in Ohio last week, you know. I'm like, you're kidding me. I'm done with this snow. Let's get out of here. And then, you know, we come here, and this track was beautiful last year. We've had really good luck here. The weather's really been good. Yeah. And, you know, this year we've got a little bit of rain, a little bit of mist, a little bit of cold, and I'm ready for some sunshine.
No doubt. You know, I looked at the calendar on this one. I was like, wow, we're 2 weeks early on this one. Normally we have one more southern-based round before we move north, and I know that the organizers kind of rolled the dice on this one, saying, you know, it's a give-me on this one. I mean, it could either be a bad one or it could be a good one. There is at the 7 mile marker, Chris Bithell still making his way out and around the course in the lead. Watch Chris go. You can watch. There's a method to this madness going on right now. Chris is not pushing the envelope, but he is certainly pushing
2 lap card out already. Wow. We got some long
so this
laps.
is only going to be a 3. Well, we got 2 lap. Well, that would be
4 lap race.
Wow, that was quick. That was crazy. Lap time, 32 minutes even. Actually, 32 minutes .04 for Chris Bithell. And I got to tell you, that was a quick 32 minutes, Fred. I guess watching this is pretty exciting in these kind of conditions, huh?
Yeah, Rodney, there's so much action going on here, and we got such great camera positions for the track that it's keeping us excited. And like you said, that 32 minutes was really quick. And it looks like Chris has got himself out a really big lead right now, so he's going to be able to come in, do the pits, take his time, not be excited, get some fuel, get some fresh goggles, and it looks like he's going to be the guy to try to catch right now.
Yeah, second place coming through the finish line chicanes right now, so we'll get an idea who that is for sure. That looks like a Yamaha, but I'm not going to guess anything just yet, and it is Bryson Neal. Wow, Neal is in second, so third place position is going to be Chris Borch.
Yeah,
so we were right. That was Chris. May not have looked like him, but by golly.
Good one for me. Like you said, Rodney, it's so hard to tell these guys. They're muddy, and they all kind of look the same on a quad because of the conditions, so it's hard to tell. But I'm glad to see Chris. He's got his things figured out. He's top 3, 2 lap boards out right now. Now is when Chris says, okay, things are going good. I got to get to the front and see if I can catch the leader. I'm sure when he comes in for pits right now, his pit crew is going to say, hey, the leader's got 30 seconds or almost a minute now, 58 seconds on you. So put your head down, let's see what you're made of, and let's go after it.
Here's the important factor in this right now, Fred. If you take a look at this, obviously we haven't heard or seen much out of Adam McGill. We haven't gotten any reports. Maybe Megawatt can get down there and give us a report from the Adam McGill pits. But McGill, being a 15-point lead over Walker Fowler, is looking at seeing that points lead relinquished, if not completely dissipated by the time that this race has concluded. Still a long road to hoe before we can make that call. But Walker Fowler also having his struggles out there. And is that Walker there?
I'm not sure. 2 guys actually came together, got all stuck right there. That was Jared McClure.
Yeah, old Sneaky Snake.
He's got his goggles off, so his pit crew should be ready for some goggles and some fuel when he heads in their way.
So McClure is through. And the point that I was getting at is if Borch, even a solid top 3 today, and Walker loses some points, depending on how things go for him, he does check in the number 5 position. So Walker's not completely out of this one, but he's a minute and 23 seconds, minute and 24 seconds, it looks like, behind Chris Borch right now. But if Fowler continues to struggle today, man, this might be a monumental day for not only Chris Borch to make up points, but what about Bryson Neal, the young sophomore who sits 3rd in points right now? He's probably 20, 30 points back out of the points lead right now, but man, there's going to be some major points gained here today if that happens.
Yeah, Ron, and he was actually in the lead last race, right? Bryson Neal was up front towards the finish, and they were all together, and he ended up 3rd last round?
Yes.
Yeah,
no,
so,
actually, no. Actually, Snake got him right there on the last.
He got 4th.
He got 4th.
But, he's been up there week after week, so now Bryson Neal has the confidence that he needs to know that he should be in the front of the race. He should be up there with that lead pack, and with conditions like today, he must be a good mud rider. He's up there, so
yeah,
he's calm, cool, and collective, and yeah, he's going to gain a lot of points. Chris Borch is going to gain some points, but Walker Fowler's only going to lose a little. But the big question is Adam McGill. Every true champion has a bad day, so maybe he'll chalk this up to his bad day. Maybe his setup's not as good, or maybe he's got a bad start or has an off day. But we'll see how far he can make it up. And even if he does lose some points, he has a lot to lose, so he's still on the hunt. But it's going to be interesting how much his loss is everybody else's gain. It gives them rekindling, gives them more fire to go after the championship.
Well, here we are looking at a Chris Bithell with a 54-second lead over the young sophomore Bryson Neal running second. Chris Borch, your 6-time and defending GNCC champion, is 3rd. The Sneaky Snake Jared McClure back in the number 4 spot, and Walker Fowler, the major challenger, rounds out your top 5. We'll be back with more GNCC Live right after this.
Any engine, any season. At home, at the track, or on the trail. AMSOIL for any engine.
love racing, all kinds of racing? How about pro motocross, flat track, road race, ATV, GNCC, Supermoto, Enduro Cross? Well, we've got what you're looking for. Welcome to the Racer X Show with Greg White, presented by Chaparral Motorsports. New every Tuesday on RacerTV.com.
This Racer TV live broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. By Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. By Maxxis Tires, find your flow. And powered by Yamaha Generators.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tom along Fred Andrews and Megawatt Matt Watson as we're enjoying some highlights from some of the grassroots of GNCC racing right there. And, of course, this morning had a great battle with our youth classes, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as the day progresses. Right now, we're trying to get it all sorted out still out here, Fred Andrews, as we're out near the 3-mile marker. Chris Bithell leading Bryson Neal now by 54 seconds. Chris Borich only 4 seconds behind him. Jared McClure, a minute and 23 seconds back and forth. Walker Fowler only 1.4 seconds behind McClure. Saw a little bit of a debacle there coming into the finish line. I don't know if McClure and Fowler got together or what the case may be, but nonetheless, there was something happening just before the finish line.
Yeah, Rodney, it looked like those two got a little bit tangled up because they were stuck together there, but, you know, I'm sure they got through, and both of them are going to be heading into the pit this time. Everybody has to fuel this time, so the pit crews are definitely going to be busy on this lap, getting goggles and fueling their guys and giving them a little pep talk, give them a little drink and tell them, hey, we got 2 laps to go. We got to make this happen. We need this position ahead of you. You got to go after them. So it'll be interesting to see.
I'll tell you something interesting, something else interesting we're very interested in right now, finding out what's going on with Adam McGill, the 521, your points leader heading into this one. Let's head down to Megawatt Matt Watson, who I think's got an update for us.
Yeah, Rodney, we're down here right now, and we just talked to Adam's pit crew. Possible electrical problem. The bike keeps shutting off, more than likely due to the moisture and the mud, of course. But back out on the track, had a lengthy pit stop. Like we said, the bike keeps shutting off. Intermittent electrical problems, what it seems like. So they're going to keep at it, and you know the McGill team, they're just going to keep pushing.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Wow.
You know, a day like today, Rodney, anything like that can happen. You know, this water just gets in everywhere, and it's an unfortunate thing. But the good thing is they're still out there. They're still gaining some points because, as you know, every race counts. So any point's better than no point.
That's it, man. He's going to have to try to stay out there, like you said, and just get any and every point that he can. 1 point, as we can very well know, can tell the difference between a championship title and sitting in second place. And I'm sure that I know that Adam does not want to be in that circumstance or position this year, so he's going to try to get everything he can. He's going to squeeze everything he can out of this one right now. 2 laps down into this one, wow, amazing. Lap 2, 32 minutes. We were, somewhere in the neighborhood of 24 minutes, but lap 1 was a little shorter than what lap 2 is, because I think we actually someplace close to 3 miles, about 2.5, 3 miles. We didn't run the first lap because of where the start is in relation to the racetrack. So that's why we can account for a little slower or a little quicker lap time on that first lap versus the second lap. And again, a 4-lap race. 2-lap board is out. We're only a few moments away from actually seeing a white flag, probably about 20 at this point. But, man, it's coming on quick and it's coming on strong.
Yeah, Ron, as you can see from the screen also, it's still raining out here. It's still like a rainy type mist. It's really cold, and, man, you get there in the woods and the leaves and that are keeping it all off, and it looks so pretty right there, folks, on TV. But it's a mess here, and these guys, my hat's off to every one of them for just getting around out there. You know, this mud gets on your helmet starts riding down your head, your boots get all muddy, they get all heavy, your quad's heavy, and it's really physical, and it's really a struggle out there today, and all these guys just keep on powering ahead. You know, I congratulate every one of them.
I'll tell you what, my little man's getting ready to ride the micro class here about 4:30, 5 o'clock this evening, that 50cc class. It'll be his first race ever, and I'm already trying to talk him out of it because I don't want to have to clean it up. I'm going to send him over to your boy Eric at KR4. How about that?
Yeah, that's right. Bring him on over. Let's put him on their ride and ride program. And I also have another guy. We have 3 guys in our program that are racing today. One guy, this will be his second race, but his first mud race, and he's excited. He's a kid. He's like, oh, I love playing in the mud. I can't wait to go riding my bike in the mud. And I'm like, well, what about cleaning stuff up? Well, I'm not cleaning it. So he's got it figured out.
Yeah.
Playing in the mud is fun, but cleaning up is the worst. And we'll take care of that for him.
There you go. That's what's so great about the Arrive and Ride program. By the way, Eric has been a major help from over there for you guys, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, Eric's our main guy over there. He takes care. And, we're willing to help everybody out. You got any questions, we stop by and we help you. We'll give you some tips if we can or help you set your bike up. And, one thing like this is that mud. We need to get some duct tape underneath the fenders, if nothing else, to help pull the mud off when you come in for the pits. Or, make sure you got your goggles ready. And like these quad guys, they all got extra goggles, and that's important. And you extra gloves, and make sure you got yourself a drink or even a bucket of water like Walker Fowler did the first lap. That's be a good thing to have, just to get all that mud off your gloves and get your gloves ready to go again out there on the track, because there's definitely some mud out there. And
lots of it. And look at the beads of water on the tree limbs right there. And that, man, just goes to show you it's wet, it's moist, it's inclement. And I'll tell you something else we got, something pretty cool we'll check in with here in just a moment, and that is the shakeup, it looks like, in this top 20 overall. But, man, earlier this morning, there could have been a shakeup. There were lots of wild things going on as far as that youth morning race was concerned. But believe it or not, I believe that Rocket Ronnie was able to do it 5 times in a row here today, man.
Rodney, those guys had the perfect condition this morning out there. They started off, the track was nice, and as you can see from the footage, which I think we have here of the race, they really had a good time for a while.
And actually, Megawatt actually got a chance to catch up with our winner there a little bit ago.
TV fans, here we are with Ronnie Rush, the winner this morning. Now, Ronnie, 5-0 so far this season, man. That's got to be a fantastic feeling. Now, I noticed this morning a little better start. You got out front a little sooner, man. You started to check out, and then we lost a little time here and there. Tell me exactly how it went today.
Well, I led every lap, but on the last lap, I got behind a lapper by the mud hole, and I stalled it, and then Michael was able to get right around me. But it came down to a field section, and I knew it was the last place to pass, so I just put my head down and passed him right there.
So you put your head down and put the power to it, man. You able to get out around him to the outside and make the pass?
Yeah.
Now, I tell you, as we mentioned, you've won the last few races on the last lap. A couple of them with a log jump to make the pass for the win. What was the difference in getting out front today and leading from the whole race?
I knew I had to pace myself, but on the last lap, I looked back at the other laps, and I noticed how slow I was going. So I was like, man, if I would have done this the last lap.
Now, how much did the rain affect it? When you guys started out, it was almost dry. Just a very little sprinkle and a little drizzle, Ronnie. How did it develop as the rain started to come down?
It came down pretty quick. I thought it was going to rain all race, but it was just slick. It was whoever had good tires and whoever had the best brain.
What was the toughest section of the track today?
Probably the 2 mud holes. That was probably the toughest.
Right on. Well, congratulations to win number 5, Ronnie.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Matt Watson, for that great interview, man. That's some good information we got out of little Ronnie out there. That was a pretty tough race, and like you said, man, I mean, they got a little bit of rain, but it just made it a little slick and not too bad. But, man, it's certainly gotten a little worse since that particular point. As
too, Ronnie, it's always nice to start a race when it's nice like that and then have the rain come in, because you're already into the race and you don't really mess with that much. Now, when you go to the starting line like the afternoon class did today, it's already muddy, it's raining, you're miserable, your goggles are getting wet and stuff on the starting line. So the little mini bike class this morning, they had it good, as you could see from the photos. They had a great start of it. It got a little bit muddy at the end, but, man, did he have a smile on his face. He was so happy to be out there playing in the mud.
5 in a row, man. I think regardless of the conditions, after winning 5 races in a row like that, and I'm sure not – that last lap, he had his doubts and his questions about it. By the way, Chris Bithell has already made his way through this section of the racetrack, and I believe that we're watching some of these other pro riders now start to check in. So looking at Bryce Neal, Chris Boris, Jared McClure, Walker Fowler and the boys making things happen out here at this 3-mile marker now. And, man, I tell you, it's so tough to see those numbers.
That's Boris right there, because
Okay,
he's got a yellow backing on him. So I'm not sure what position he is in, but he's definitely moving forward.
Well, I thought I saw Neal going by there a moment ago, so it could very well still be the number 3 spot.
And, Ron, it looks like he got goggles somewhere on the track, because his helmet's totally dirty. He's got a white goggle strap. So there's no way he kept that thing clean.
No doubt. I saw that same thing, too. It sticks out there, and obviously that's going to be the types of things that are going to be having to happen. I mean, get those fresh goggles. I'm sure that some of these riders may go through 2 to 3 pairs a lap, believe it or not, if they've got the amount of goggles they need and they've got people in position to hand them off to them. It wouldn't be a bad idea to change. There's McClure, old sneaky snake, winding his way through the 3-mile mark now.
And you see the section here, Rodney, it's like a little snake. It goes zigzag, and everybody that comes out of that first zig, they're all looking to the right. They're all looking to see if they're catching anybody, because when you see the person in front of you, you can almost already see yourself past them. So that's your little motivation that you need, and he's looking ahead trying to catch them up.
That's it. And ooh, look at this little man. That is slick out there. But these guys, they've got it dialed in. They may be looking like they're about ready to go crazy, but and fly everywhere. But regardless, they hang on to it.
You know, see, like Walker Fowler came to that corner there. He's sliding around on the inside where it's slippery. Then he drifts out into that little bit of the mud that's there, and that Yamaha just takes off forward. So he knows how to go through that corner. Goes good and tight. Gets out there in the loose dirt, gets some traction, and he's looking really good right now.
I imagine that's the kind of things that those guys were talking about earlier this morning about, well, Brandon Summers talking about the track being smooth and being able to slide around some of those turns and everything. Well, folks, we got 2 laps in, and we are less than 2 laps away from a checker flag. We're going to take a look at our Midway Report. It's the Mid-State Chevy Midway Report, brought to you by your friends at Mid-State Chevrolet and MidStateChevy.com. Be sure and check them out on Facebook as well. They stack them deep and sell them cheap. Chris Biffle leading the XC1 and the overall. Bryson Neal in second. Chris Forch in third. Jared McClure was fourth. And Walker Fowler rounding out your top 5. 6th place overall is Cole Richardson with the 7th place ride of Landon Wolf would be 6th in the XC1 class. Kevin Yoho is 8th overall, 7th in class. Johnny Gallagher, 9th overall, 8th in class. Braden Henthorn is 10th overall, 9th in class. Marty Christopherson is 2nd in the XC2 Pro-Am. He is 11th overall. Brian Wolf, the number 12 spot overall, but he is 10th place in class in that XC1 Pro class. Adam McGill still back in the number 11 spot after 2 laps complete. And still, here's the important thing, in a top 20 overall, even with the electrical issues and stuff that he is sustaining right now, he's still maintaining a top 15 position. That's a few points. That's quite a bit, and that's what we're talking about in being able to salvage these race days to be a true champion. Let's take a look at the full XC2 Pro-Am class now. Cole Richardson, Marty Christopherson, Kevin Cunningham now a minute and 2 seconds back in third. By the way, first and second in this class separated by 3 minutes and 9 seconds. Cody Collier, the young phenom, working his way from the youth ranks into the amateur ranks and now into the Pro-Am ranks. Collier running fourth, 14 seconds behind Cunningham right now. 5th place, 3:16 is Ryland Johnson out of Rector, Arkansas. Then we got Fred Marley, the 19, right here out of the Hoosier State, out of Osgood. Michael Lancaster out of Morgantown, West Virginia, runs 7th. Jake Stonebreaker is running 8th out of Muncie, Indiana. 9th place, Robbie Piccarori out of Aston, PA, 9th. And Luke Shepard, good to see that old boy out of Marion, Ohio, up to a number 10 spot. Way to go, Luke. Seeing him make it happen. And to the College A class, where we've got a change in position leads here now. Just to point out this one, remember, we have these 2 in the overall right now, but Greg Covert is now 13th overall. Wesley Wolf, 13 seconds behind, is 15th overall. The way they look in class right now, Covert and Wolf, as we told you. Then it's Jason Booms out of Michigan on the 406 in third. Stephen Michael Cunningham is 4th. Austin Abney rounds out your top 5 aboard the 704. And that is your top 5 in so far. The big gaps, there's some big gaps. 13 seconds between first and second. 3:45 back to third. 4:35 back to the 4th place position. And still actually waiting on the 5th place ride of Austin Abney to check in. It could be Noah Landis or Christian Myers. Both those guys within 3 seconds of a top 5 ride at the end of lap number 1. Junior A 22 plus class, Dwight Pollard after 2, leading a minute and 50 seconds over Brent Hinkey, the number 896. Then we've got Nathan Hornacek running in the number 3 spot. Man, Ken Hill does not look happy right now. Nathan Hornacek, the 32.
Not a good day to be a photographer.
No, not one at all for sure. Or a cameraman for Racer TV. You're out in the thick of it right now for sure. We can see that with the rain coming down on that lens. But Stevie Covert with the 702 is running the Junior A 4th place out of Ithaca, New York. Justin Paul rounds out your top 5 aboard the number 40. There were only 6 seconds between 3rd and 5th at the end of lap number 1. That is opened up and changed, so we may see some changes back in 4th and 5th. Top 3, Pollard, Hinkey, and Hornacek have checked in, still waiting on Covert and Paul. That A28 plus class, Matt Pierce and Matt Hanna, 7 seconds separating those two. Todd Demery, 29 seconds back in 3rd. We got Pearson Hanna out of Ohio, Corning and New Concord. Versailles, Indiana, home for Todd Demery. Washington, West Virginia, home for Dustin Hendershot, the 806, who is 4th. And West Mansfield, Ohio, Walt Schumacher, 728, rounds out the top 5 in the Vet A 28 plus. The senior AB 38 plus, Aaron Delancey out of St. Louisville, Ohio, a 1-minute lead over the 775 of Jeremy Reeves out of Carthage, Indiana. 3rd place, the 41 John Glott out of Waxhaw, North Carolina. Mark Batson, 636 out of LaSalle, Michigan, is 4th. And 705 Rusty Repest out of Mooresville, North Carolina, rounds out your top 5. Reeves and Glott at the end of 1 were 2 seconds apart. 10 seconds back was Batson. And then another 2:43 back was Rusty Repass. So some tight racing and then a couple of gaps opening up there as we go to the College B class. After 2 for Colin Gerber, he leads by 1 minute and 5 seconds on the 596 out of Sugar Creek, Ohio, over the 330 of Charlie Dawson, I should say, out of Lisbon, Ohio. Omaha, Nebraska, home to Spencer Model in the 116. That rider runs 54 seconds back in the number 3 spot. 417 Dylan Edwards out of Cottageville, West Virginia, the 21 seconds off pace in 4th. And Chandler Berner out of Bellington, West Virginia. Make that Jeremy Hill because we lost Beller, it looks like, Chandler Berner. Actually, he's back to 6, but Jeremy Hill, the 515 out of Pacific, Missouri, 1 minute and 17 seconds back, now rounds out your top 5 in the College B. Junior B, Cody Wolford out of Dry Fork, West Virginia, 57-second lead over Brett Fike, the 171 out of Frostburg, Maryland. 356 Brian Felicki out of Poland, Ohio, 2 minutes back. In 4th place, the 415 Caleb Bailey out of Waldorf, Maryland, another 1 minute and 30 seconds back. 5th place, the 999 of Denny McCullough out of Bloomington, Indiana, kind of a hometown boy, another 58 seconds back in the number 5 ride. The Vet B class, Adam Reed out of Eelsville, Ohio, 1 minute 58 seconds over the 64 of Todd Muscala. We call him the Barbaro Man. Warwick, Rhode Island is home of John Salsa, and John Salsa, the 410, runs in 3rd currently in that Vet B 30 plus class. 4th place, Peter Arbanez, these 275 from Morgantown, West Virginia, and Jeremy Gouchard from Mansfield, Ohio, the 61, rounds out the top 5 in that Vet B class. And that is a look at your Mid-State Chevy Midway report here. Brought to you by Mid-State Chevrolet. Be sure to check them out. They're the home of your next new car, truck, or van, and the official truck provider of the GNCC Racing Nation. You can find them in the heart of West Virginia, just off I-79 there, or at midstatechevy.com on the World Wide Web. Stacking them deep, but selling them cheap. That's Mid-State Chevy. Fred, as we're watching this one, we're out near the 5-mile marker. Still, I don't think there's been a lot of changes. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that we're still seeing Bithell and command and control things right now.
Yeah, Ron, it looks like Chris Bithell came to that section right there, and he actually stopped right here and maybe got a drink of water from some lady, and he was wiping his grips off. Then he went down and around the corner and actually got stuck for a second, had to jump off his quad, and actually pushed it forward. And I'm showing he had like almost 1 minute and 10 on 2nd place going through there. And then Chris Spores just went through a minute ago, and right down here around this corner right here, these guys are having a little bit of trouble. Chris Spores kind of got hung up for a second, but he got going. He didn't have to jump off, but as you can see the spectators down there are helping him, so it's getting really nasty right there. But no, it doesn't look like there's a big change, but it looks like they're starting to stretch it out a little bit. It looks like Bithell got a little bit extra time on him.
Yeah, man, Bithell's, wow. This is the day for Bithell. He announces his intended retirement. Maybe somebody's going to come along and give him another ride. You never know. I think that's really the only thing that's keeping him from being totally dedicated. And if he's riding like this on a part-time basis, you got to wonder, man, maybe finally Chris Bithell has found that flow and that groove, and if somebody just gives him that extra edge, he might have it and be able to vie for a championship out there. It's amazing what how the course of action of time can really make a rider step things up. We got one of our, is that our leader going through there?
Yeah,
guys?
I think that was. And you can see, it looks like there's a new line being made right there. That right there around that tree must have got real rooted and rutted out. And this is his guy here.
Yep.
Giving him the thumbs up and hang loose and keep going, son.
There you go, man. Look at that. Chris Bithell is riding the dreams the ride that dreams are made of on a day like today. I mean, you know, you think about it. Conditions are, you know, equal playing field. I got as good a chance as anybody. Yada yada yada. Well, Chris Bithell on any day has got as good a chance as anybody. It's that first hour and a half. He's fast as anybody on the racetrack. However, at the end of this next lap, when the white flag comes out, will be the true tell of the tape there, I believe.
Yeah, I think, if he is still in the lead when he comes through for this white flag, it's been a while since he's seen the white flag in the lead. I'm sure when he goes by, he's going to have some extra energy, and his pit crew's going to be rooting him on, and he's going to dig down deep and give us everything he got. When he comes to that finish line, he's going to be spent, but he's not going to just coast. He's going to give it everything he's got to try to win this race because, these wins, when you win a GNCC, you never know if you ever will or when your next win will happen. So you cherish every one, and he's close right now, and he's going to give everything he's got to make another one happen.
Here's something interesting. Jay Shadron, speaking of cherishing everything you got, Jay Shadron tore some muscles away from some ligaments and some tendons in his arms, in his shoulder. Remember, he had the bad
Big Buck
crash at the Big Buck. Well, he finished that race, got some points. I talked to him this morning. He was in a sling. He said, the only thing that's going to fix it right now is not to use it. But I'm going to go out and I'm going to ride a lap, try to get some points. Guess what? Shadron is still out there with 2 laps down. I think he went right into lap number 3 also. He's at 12th place in class right now. But remarkably, this rider is still pushing the envelope, trying to salvage hopefully whatever he can today, because he still feels like a strong and key player for a top 10 overall. And this being his second year as an XC1 Pro Class rider, man, at 9th place overall headed into this one. He's got some big shoes of his own to fill, but I think this kid's going to be more than capable of it, and showing the heart and determination by going out and putting himself what he's putting himself through today, Fred, just to try to ensure that.
Yeah, it's just a sign that he's young. He wants to be a racer. He doesn't want his sponsors and all his fans to think he's a quitter. So he's going to go out there and do the best he can, grab a few points, and hopefully let himself heal up and get ready for the next round. And Chris Borich just came through the screen right there. We were talking about roll-offs or tear-offs. Megawatt and I were, and you can see Chris Borich has got roll-offs. He's doing a roll-off all the time, getting that clear vision going through there. And we got a guy here in the pits, and he's got roll-offs on, as you can see, and they have that water bottle there. They're spraying out the radiators to make sure they're not getting all clogged up, so the bike runs cool for the rest of the day.
Well, it'll be interesting what the mood of the pits are out there today. I know Megawatt Matt Watson out and about. Maybe we can get him to head on over and check in on a few things and see exactly what the mode and the mood is as far as the XC1 Pro Class is concerned here today. And I just looked out in front of me where the KTM pits are for tomorrow's race. They got
trees growing.
They got trees growing in front of their pits, and now they've got like 10 striders out there. It looks like they're making an obstacle course. Looks like we're going to have some fun tonight, Fred.
Yeah, it sure does. Looks like they're making these little strider racers. They're going to think they're in the woods. They got all these trees out there beside the stakes, and it really looks cool.
They do. They've even got arrows. We're going to have to get a camera out on this, I think, at some point. That's pretty cool. 8 mile markers where we're at with our leaders. Chris Bithell continuing to lead. Let's check back in. Again, Cole Richardson, 6th overall, our XC2 Pro-Am class leader. College A, 16 to 24. Leader is Greg Covert now. He's 13th overall on the 701 machine. Wesley Wolf out of Maryland, 2nd in that class, is 15th overall. And I'm curious as to whether or not our young Jay Shadron, oh man, what a heartbreaker right now. Now, if Jay stays out there, the War of Attrition might win this one for him. He is in 21st place overall right now. In order to score overall points, you got to be in 20th place. So you got to hope for this kid, if nothing else, that it's not, a fruitless effort for him to go out and try to score some points. But regardless, you just gotta give it to Jay Shadron, and I think that he's got a good fan base, and I think the racers recognize this, or the fans recognize this. At Big Buck, if you paid any attention, whenever Jay came around for his final lap, there was a crowd standing at the finish line applauding his efforts, knowing that he was riding so well and what happened to him, and they were there to support him. I thought that was the greatest thing. And it wasn't his pit crew. It wasn't his cousins and his family. He was nowhere near home. That was real race fans that were there cheering on Jay Shadron.
Yeah, too, Rodney. Even if he goes out there today and he doesn't get any points, he went out there with the intention to get points. Yep. He gave it everything he had, and if that's all he had today, well, that's all he had. But he knows in his heart he went out there and tried.
I'll tell you, if I was a sponsor, I could say that I would be satisfied with the efforts that he's putting forth.
And I think that right there was Chris Bithell at the 8 mile marker.
Well, Bithell out near the 8 mile marker, making things happen here on these on this muddy Saturday afternoon, and seems to have things dialed in. There's that pristine part of the racetrack, and I think that is a creek bed. You said something about.
Yep. You know, even with the mist and the rain that we've had today, the track has really held up good.
No,
you know, Rodney, it's not no big, real deep ruts. It looks like everything's nice. Like this is a great section. The field sections that are fresh dirt, those nice big sweeping corners are nice, and they've done a wonderful job today. And this ground shows that it can take some water and still be a great racetrack.
And I'm pretty impressed by that, just simply because I was out in the woods while it was dry yesterday, walking parts of the course, and I was shocked because, I mean, there were some soft, by no stretch of the imagination was the track soft, but there were some soft areas out there, and I'm impressed with the fact that how well this is all holding together, considering the torture that the ground has gone through over the course of this day.
Yeah, well, Rodney, right now I'm showing 1 minute and 10 seconds since Bithell went through, unless I've missed second place, which I don't think I have, but, you know, we're still waiting, so Chris has got a really good lead here going into the last lap.
He had 54 seconds at the end of lap number 2 there over Bryson Neal. He turned a 32-minute flat lap time. Neal a 32:30 lap time. And we should be probably seeing Bryson check in here pretty soon. That's
okay, there's Bryson Neal right there. It's 1 minute and 35 seconds, Rodney.
Wow.
So Chris Bithell's either turned up the burner or Bryson's slowed down or had a little trouble, and you know, which can happen on a day like today.
Yeah,
and there's Chris Borich.
Ooh, Chris is, you know, if you remember, he was only 4 seconds behind Bryson, so I'm not going to say that Bryson's necessarily slowed his pace down, but he's probably steadied it out while maybe Chris has picked it up. But what I'm thinking right now is that Chris Bithell's thinking that last half hour, I can make it an hour and a half. I got to get into enough comfort zone for the last 30 minutes.
And I noticed, too, Chris Borich that time, no more white strap. So he may have gotten close to Bryson Neal, was trying to put the pass on him, had to take his goggles off, and now he has to lay back because he's worried about his vision. So, you know, the Borich pit crew should be ready. They're probably going to need some goggles. Chris may stop the last lap. He may not, but, you know, they should be ready for that.
Leaders will be checking in here soon. We're at the 8-mile marker right now. I think we're, some 9, almost 10 miles for this racetrack today.
9.5, I believe.
9.5, so only at this point about 1.5 miles from the end, which would put us somewhere in the neighborhood, about 7 minutes or so. So we'll be seeing Bithell probably within the next 5 or 6 at the finish line itself. Pretty amazing. I just got to go back to the mindset that Chris had this morning. I mean, he was as lighthearted as I've seen him. He came to the racetrack. Get this, Fred. I mean, this is old school, dude. It looked like old school GNCC. He had a pickup truck. His quad was in the back of his pickup truck. He had an easy up, and he had a toolbox and a gas can, a few things that you need that are some, you know, that you're going to need for your pit stops and stuff, but nothing elaborate, nothing exciting. He was sitting in his pickup truck by himself. Now, I did see his girl running around here a little bit ago, so I know he does have a bit of a pit crew out with us today. So, but he's coming. It's skeleton staff, man, and I know that he's gotten aggravated at maybe some of the attention that Adam has gotten riding from a basically a no frills situation, not having the help that a lot of these guys have. You know, the privateer aspect of it, I guess. And, you know, he's wanting to let everybody know, you know, I'm privateer too. And I think he's showing these folks out here that privateers can go as fast as a factory guy. It's just any given day, man. When you come out here, like you know, when you won your first one in 1993, friend, there's the white flag coming out on this one as Chris Bithell just checked in 34 minutes, 16 seconds. So he slowed his lap down by 2 minutes and 16 seconds. But as you well know, man, when you come and do it, man, you get that bug bit at one time. That's all it takes.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. And I noticed one thing there about Chris Bithell coming in there. Someone actually gave him another towel again. Yeah. So he's keeping his grips nice and clean. And, you know, he's got a pretty healthy lead here. And I noticed his goggles are off, so I'm sure he'll be stopping to get a fresh pair of goggles because it looks like they're going through about 1 pair of goggles per lap. So let's hope he stops and keeps his vision clean as we're waiting on second place here to show up and see what the gap is now compared to what we had him at the 8-mile marker.
Well, he says the last 30 minutes is the killer. He's got about 34 minutes ahead of him now, so he's added more onto that. But, you know, I got to say,
a little different mindset in the lead here, Rodney. He's not even worried about it being that. He's just seeing the finish line. He's seeing that checkered flag, so he just keeps moving forward and pushing forward.
And another thing I think is that, you know, the heat. the conditions that we raced in a couple of weeks ago, he said that last half hour, 80 degrees or so, that the temperatures were starting getting the better of him, so he got a little overheated. So I don't think we have to worry about that today. If we're at 50 degrees today, we're really flying. I think we're somewhere in the 40s as far as the temperatures are. It's a rather cool day, but beautiful spring day here in Indiana. As you can see, the foliage is beginning to make its way on.
116, Bryce Neal's behind him now, so
Wow.
Bryson made up about 20 seconds in that mile.
Man, that's
Which
amazing.
could have happened when, you know, Chris Bithell stopped and got that rag around on the first thing, so he lost a little bit of time there. And there goes Chris Borich into the pits.
All right, let's see what the gap is there. 34:38 lap time for Bryson Neal. 34:54 lap time for Chris Borich. 20.6 seconds now behind Bryson Neal. Man, you know, if you look at this, I mean, each one of these riders right now that are riding at podium position are having a phenomenal day. Chris Borich, though it may not be the winning ways that we see and are expected to see Chris Borich, but at the same time, we do know that Chris Borich has made some major leaps and strides. We see the great consistency and exactly what Bryson Neal has set out to do in 2015. He said top fives is a consistent is what we're going to be working on, shooting for podiums every time. And look at it, it's all working out for him. And Chris Bithell, hey man, you couldn't ask for a better ride for him today than to come out here and be leading by 1 minute and 16, almost 17 seconds now over Bryson Neal. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll check back in with the rest of our XC1 class and the rest of our GNCC Racing Nation when we return here on GNCC Live right after this.
General RV is going to help you go camping with locations across the nation and thousands of RVs to choose from. General RV is the nation's largest family-owned RV dealer. At General RV, you'll save thousands on everything from trailers that sleep the whole family right up to motorhomes that are amazing and so economical to travel in. General RV is the only dealer who can show you this much and save you this much with a great deal.
Welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacingTV.com as we check out some of the local scenery of downtown here near where we're at, Lawrence County, Indiana. A lot of nice little burgs around here. As you can see, a beautiful day on Friday, setting the stage for a great weekend here. And, man, just all those beautiful spring flowers, the leaves coming on. Even looking around right now with all the muddy messes and stuff, I mean, we can see just the beauty of it all. And it's all right here in Lawrence County, Indiana. Springville is where we're at the abate of Indiana's, I guess, Lawrence County Recreation Park. And, Fred, as we check back in, we're looking at the 2-mile marker right now. But what we're also looking at is the final lap of racing underway where Chris Bithell has a minute 15, almost 17-second lead over Bryson Neal, who has another 20 seconds over Chris Borich, who has now 2 minutes and 16 seconds over the Sneaky Snake, Jared McClure, and still no sign of Walker Fowler yet. So this, you know, depending on what's going on with Walker, and I'm not sure, maybe we can get Megawatt down there to talk with the Walker Fowler pits to find out what's going on. But Walker still not seen a lot out of him today. Cole Richardson, his teammate, is running 6th overall and leading the XC2 Pro-Am class. Landon Wolf 7th. Kevin Yoho was 8th. Johnny Gallagher 9th. Braden Henthorn 10th. But again, only 4 riders. Only 4 riders have checked in with 3 laps complete now. And that's pretty wild.
Unusual.
Yeah,
that's
it
really
is very
crazy.
unusual.
Because, you know, Walker's a good mud rider, you know, and Cole's coming. But it's amazing that those top 4, yanked him so far.
I know. I'm sitting here, I'm scratching my head. And still got to wonder, is the electrical problem still that major issue for Adam McGill? Has he been able to overcome it? And if he can stay top 20 right now, man, I mean, he might be able to salvage exactly what we were talking about earlier there today. Championships are won on your worst days, and he's out there pushing right now, and he might be pushing toward that championship if he can keep this up.
You know, Rodney, I only won one championship, but I got second like 5 times, and 2 of the times I lost by 1 point. So every point matters, and Adam McGill knows that, and whatever he gets today, as many points he can get, he's going to be thankful for, and he's going to fix that electrical problem and move on to the next race.
Amen. And I know that the folks at RG Honda, man, they have got a great program working for him right now. Adam has got so much support going on right now. It's just good to see that's going on. Sad to see that he is struggling, but at the same time, an inspiration to see that he's still out there pushing the way that he is.
Yeah, you know, it makes it good for everybody else out there because, you know, he's going to give a little points up today, and everybody's going to get some more stuff rekindled. Here comes our leader right now, and if you wonder if he stops for goggles, and it doesn't look like he's just going to keep on motoring, and he's just going to
wow, look at that.
Go.
Man.
I mean, he's not worried about his vision at this point. You know, with being 1 minute and 15 ahead, I think, wow, I would have wanted to stop, at least had some clear vision, but he
yeah.
He's
I mean,
just going.
you'd think that he would want, but at the same time, man, I mean, maybe he's not really experiencing any issues. If there's not a lot of lap traffic out there, maybe it's something he's not going to be concerned about. But let's do it, man. One more chance to get your podium predictions in. Tweet your podium finish predictions to hashtag GNCC Live for a chance to win $250 in AMSOIL product. Again, we'll choose the winners randomly. You don't have to be right, but who do you think is going to be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat today, my friend? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. You know, and I'm sure we're going to have a whole bunch of different guesses. But like you say, Ryan, the cool thing is you don't have to have them exactly right. It's just tweeting there, give us who you think it'll be, and you know, we pick you out of a hat, and we're happy to have you be part of our program. And, you know, that's what makes it fun. You don't have to get it right.
Yeah, and, you know, want to say thanks to AMSOIL for doing that, $250 in AMSOIL products. If you haven't had a chance to stop by at a racetrack, check out AMSOIL. You don't know where a local dealer is, go to AMSOIL.com, and while you're there checking out all the out-front performance oils for both off-road, on-road, and work, or whatever the case may be, your cars, trucks, vans, whatever, be sure and check out the chance to win the AMSOIL America Adventure. It's kind of a 7 days, 6 nights of just intensity that.
Well, looks like Borge. Looks like Borge is in second place right now. He's 1:23 back.
Man, a big change going on there. So
I'm not sure what happened to Bryson Neal if we missed him, but I don't think we did.
No, but AMSOIL, you can sign up to win in that AMSOIL adventure. It all ends at after 7 days in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Monster Energy Cup. Check it out online. You can sign up there as well. Right now, as you said, a big change going on is track crew trying to help maintain some good lines and course conditions for these guys out there. You know, some of these guys sometimes got to ask themselves the question, why do I stand so close to this racetrack right here?
You know what, Rodney, though, I did that same thing at Georgia race. Thad Duvall was coming around, and I was giving him the pit board, and he was coming closer to me, and I was backing up, and I caught a berm behind me, flipped the pit board up in there on my back. I went feet over my head and rolled over backwards, and some guy says, hey, that was cool. I got on film. You want to see it? I said, no.
I do. If you're out there watching, I want you to send that to us. We're going to play it on Racing TV.
This is funny.
We want that footage, Fred. We want to replay that at the next event. But, wow. Fred, yeah, you got you wear a lot of hats. You wear them well. You're doing a great job keeping up with this stuff right here today, man. Pretty exciting stuff. But we look at this. We have a brunt of our riders checking in with 3 laps complete, or a big brunt of them. We see that Cole Richardson has checked in. Well, actually, Jerry McClure's checked in 4th. We knew that. Cole Richardson now checks in 5th. Look at this, 6th overall, 5th in class. Johnny GNCC himself, our co-host, coming up tomorrow. Johnny Gallagher running 6th in the overall, 5th in class right now on this day. He is a noted mud runner, and actually, he's a racetrack specialist, but he gets a little bit fancy on these days. Landon Wolf running in 7th. Brian Wolf is running 8th. Kevin Yoho in 9th. Braden Henthorne is 10th. Listen, Adam McGill is up to 11th, my friends. Walker Fowler, not checked in yet, is back to 12th. Walker Fowler, or excuse me, now all of a sudden the day doesn't seem so dismal for the number 521 of Adam McGill.
No, Rodney, sure doesn't. That goes to show, you know, just keep on plugging away at. You never know what's going to happen, whether Walker Fowler's having bike troubles, or he got stuck in one of the ruts. And you can see right before the finish line now, the track is starting to chew up at a few different spots. And this guy here's stuck, but he's got a track worker guy helping him out. But
that thing's almost waist deep, it look like, but it's knee deep, but my gosh.
Yeah, you know, Adam McGill just plugging away. He's got that championship in his mind, and every little point counts. And, you know, if it comes out this way and Walker Fowler does finish behind him, you're 100% right. It's not such a bad day.
Well, they
see
weren't quick
Jared
enough
McClure
for
coming out of the
there.
pit right now.
Yeah,
right now, he just got a. Well, he didn't put goggles on, so he must have got a little bit of drink, maybe wiped his gloves off, and he's heading out for his last lap in 4th place.
There you go, man. So McClure actually looked like he was wanting goggles, but they weren't ready for him, so he just said the heck with it and went on. So Bithell, Neal, Borage, McClure, and now Cole Richardson top 5, and well, say Johnny Gallagher top 5 in class. Now, as far as the overall amateurs, we just saw that Wesley Wolf checked in 13th place overall right now. By the way, Cody Collier is now 12th in that XC2 Pro-Am, from the XC2 Pro-Am class. Who's this going back to the pits? Is that Fowler? No, number 20. Okay, we got the number 20. We'll see if we can find that number real quick. I think that is one of our XC2 Pro-Am riders, to be honest with you. So we'll go and see if we can't get a name on that number. But yeah, that might have been Randy Hamilton. Although Randy Hamilton's only got 1 lap in. I'm thinking that might have been Levi Coe in the 28 machine now. And what a tough break for him, because Levi was in the midst of his best XC2 Pro-Am class race today as well. It's funny, Fred, how these conditions, man, I mean, it can go from one extreme to another where it looks like somebody has got the ride of a lifetime going on or getting some of the biggest breaks they could ever find. Then the next time around, I mean, it's the complete opposite.
The bottom falls out. You're right, Rodney. You know, with a mud race like this, anything can happen. You know, it's every lap, every turn you conquer is important.
I like the way you put that.
Corner by corner.
It is. Every lap, every turn that you can conquer is certainly paving the way to success, and that's a good way to look at it. And on days like today, you do have to look at it like that. Every turn, every straight, I mean everything, because I mean even in this turn right here, we're starting to see
it's constantly changing. You know,
It
on
is.
a dry day, you know that turn isn't going to get any deeper. It's not going to get any different because the ground's hard. When it's soft like this, every time around it is different, and that's when you got to look ahead. You got to really, really pay attention.
Yep, you do, and you can get high-sided in there with you know those ruts that are getting developing. So it's a matter of line choice on these final laps. Chris Bithell out near the 3-mile marker as he motors his way home to his first win in 2015, and I don't know if he won last year either. I don't think he may have taken 1 win last year, but regardless, it's been a while since this guy's been in the center of the box, and this today probably couldn't have come any better and couldn't have come any sooner, and it came at the right time, I think, because I know that Chris has really been kind of hard on himself and hard on his program just simply because of the efforts that he's had to put forth just to try to make it to the races, and to be able to come out and do this, man, I mean, this is going to be the inspiration that keeps that fuel burning and that fire burning the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, too, Ronnie. And a mud race is totally different than like a hot, dusty, dry race. I mean, in the mud race, you're out there having fun. You know, it's not as much, the speed's not so important. You're more picking your lines, so you're a little bit more relaxed and at ease as you're going. And like you said, this may just be the spark that he needs to say, well, you know, maybe I will do this full time again. But if nothing else, it shows him that all the hard work he's been putting in all year and all the troubles and bad luck that he has been having, why he hasn't won or been on the podium more, it's all going to be there today, and he's just going to do a really good job, and he's going to hopefully have that champagne bottle and celebrate and be happy.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a long way away. You know, we're kind of getting the cart in front of the horse here with the way the tracks are, but, you know, the way he's riding right now and the lead he's got, he doesn't seem like anything can stop him other than if he picks a bad line or if he has bike trouble.
That's for sure, and we're going to continue to watch and see whether or not it's the case. Chris Bithell hasn't won since Foxburg, and that would have been 2013. So
and
that's
that was a full-on mudder.
Yeah,
full-on mudder.
It was the Gusher, if you remember. It was called the Gusher, and it was gushing mud everywhere. It was called the Gusher because of the oil wells, but, man, that ground was gushing up mud everywhere, and it was kind of like
Yeah, all I remember in that place is we got parked, and then the clouds let loose, and I thought, how are we ever going to get out of here? And they had to take the bulldozer and actually make us roads to get out, and it looked like right there was Borich coming by in second place. It looked like he had like 2:15, 2:13 behind, so it looks like Chris Bithell may have even stretched out his lead a little bit for us.
Wow, update on this XC2 Pro Am class, man. Cody Collier up to the number 2 spot in class. He's 2 minutes 44 seconds behind Richardson, but that is second place position as a rookie in the XC2 Pro Am class. Only a couple, 3 years removed from the youth ranks, and already a podium contender here. Marty Christopherson, one of our riders from up out of New York, one of the Wanoa top riders, is running in the number 3 spot right now, and that's the top 3 and the only thing. I'll take that back. Fred Marley's checked in now. Kevin Cunningham also checking in, and it looks like Rylan Johnson, the 316, back in the number 6 spot. So it's Richardson, Collier, Christopherson 1, 2, and 3, Marley in 4th, Kevin Cunningham in 5th, and Rylan Johnson in the number 6 spot of the XC2 Pro Am. The XC1 Pro class, Bithell, Neal, Borich, McClure, Gallagher is the way we're looking at those guys going in the top 5 order.
You know, this just shows you old Johnny G. He's like 100 years out here racing those quads, so he's putting all his knowledge and experience to use today, picking good lines and putting himself where he needs to be for probably his best finish of the year, I believe.
Yes, most certainly his best feature for sure. And as we motor our way toward the finish line, and we can see that it's going to be a challenge, but it's still well within sight and vision for Chris Bithell at this point. Let's take a look back in the past this morning, earlier today, where we had yet another phenomenal barn burner of a race. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but those 4x4 pros once again put together another exciting battle. And guess what? We came away with a brand new winner today, Michael Swift.
All right, hello, Racer TV fans. We are here with today's 2015 Limestone ATV 4x4 and overall pro winner this morning, Michael Swift. Mike, we know it's been a long season for you so far. Only 5 rounds, but you've been working hard this year. Here it is, your birthday, and you get your first win of your season in the mud on the birthday. How's that feel, man?
That feels awesome, man. I've worked hard for this. I'm having fun. I told myself this morning when I woke up, I'm just going to go have fun. I ain't going to worry about nothing else. It's my birthday. You know, whatever happens, happens. I'll put my head down and work. That's what I do when I get out there. But I just had fun and kept going. I got out front, really quick, probably by the 4-mile marker on the first lap. And I took it easy the first lap because it is slick. And after I got the first lap in, I just started picking it up. And it was good. I'm totally excited.
Well, Rodney and I called it. When you said you got out to the lead, you did. On the screen, let me tell you something. You put some distance on them, and we kind of looked at each other and said, man, it might be a Swift kind of day. So as soon as you got out there, you knew it. I mean, you had that confidence. Now, you and I talk, and you don't hide your emotions too much. You know, you've been working hard this season. You've had a couple, we'll call bad breaks or this or that. So how pleased are you with everything coming together today?
I'm totally pleased. I couldn't be any happier. I'm not sure how my teammate Kevin's doing and the other guys are doing, but you know, I got Polaris and all of our sponsors in the center of the box today, and you know, it's really good. I had a lot of fun out there.
Now, Mike, with all the efforts that you do put in and all the testing and tuning you do, I mean, how satisfying is it in these conditions against these guys?
It's great. You know, I spend a lot of time testing and working and prepping and testing, and sometimes that don't always work out. You know, I've had a couple races this year where I've tried things and sometimes it don't work, but the only way we're going to learn and get better is to take chances and try things.
Absolutely. You know, Mike, I know you have tons of help. I know you've got great supporters. Who you want to thank for getting you on the top today?
You know, the good Lord, all of my family, all of my team, UXC Racing, all of their family members, everybody that helps us in the pits, Factory Polaris Racing, Max's Tires, Rocks, Speed FX, Evans Racing Coolant, all of our sponsors. We have so many of them. I want to thank everybody for it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to you. And there you have it, our 2015 Limestone AM winner and 4x4 Pro overall winner, Michael Swift.
I'll tell you what, thanks a lot there, Megawatt. Michael Swift certainly making things happen. Congratulations. I know that he is, fought for those wins and see it finally come to fruition here today on that new ride is certainly a positive note for sure. So right now we still wait, find out how this one's all going to unfold today. Chris Bithell leading Bryson Neal at last check with Chris Borich in third, Jerry McClure fourth, Johnny Gallagher 5th. Landon Wolf was running 6th. Brian Wolf with 7th. Kevin Yoho in 8th. Braden Henthorn 9th. Adam McGill in class is 10th, but remember, he is 11th overall. If you look at the overall standings right now, and he started out a little further back. Now, we can't say so far that this is going to be the ride that he was needing, but he is putting forth the effort that needed to be put forth today under the adverse conditions that he is being faced with. Not the weather conditions, but the electrical issues that his ATV is suffering from right now. I think as impressive as anything, though, I'm pretty impressed with what's going on back there in that XC2 Pro-Am class with Cody Collier. And Fred, I know this rider's up actually close to near your area, and there's a lot of ATV riders that live in that area, and for some reason there's some fast ones. Cole Richardson from he's over in PA, but he raced up in that area. Cody from up in that area. Walker Fowler from up in that area. Man, what are you guys putting in the water up there for the four-wheel guys?
Yeah. No, I don't know. We've got a good group of four-wheeler guys up there, and right now on the screen to get away from that right now, I believe that's Chris Bithell coming by the 5-mile marker here, and this is where he got stuck last time. Those guys had to help him, but man, he had no trouble that time. He's just seeing that checkered flag right now and pushing his way forward.
Visions of checkers right now at the 5-mile marker for Chris Bithell. Although he may be envisioning them, he's also envisioning the fact that he's still got about 5 more miles to go.
You know, and right there, Rodney, he came up behind that lap guy, and he doesn't have any goggles on, so going up that uphill, he turned it to the left right there, and it looks like he was actually making his own trail going up the hill, and he's trying not to let anything stop him in his way of winning here today. And right now we're actually waiting on second place to see if I was correct or if I did miss Bryson Neal last time going by, whether it was him or Borich.
Well, we'll be watching and waiting, and we point out the fact there's a lot of fast guys out of that northern Ohio area on four-wheeler, but you just break it down. There's a lot of fast guys, period. 2 wheels, 4 wheels, a lot of good racing comes out of, and a lot of good racers coming up out of that neck of the woods for sure. And speaking of neck of the woods, we're waiting for second place in this neck of the woods. The 5-mile marker is what we're calling this. Is that going to still be Bryson Neal, or is Chris Borich going to be able to make some major ground up again and even some pretty big points toward that championship? But like we say, if things continue to roll the way they are, the person that's, Chris Borich is going to come out the best and the sweetest smelling as far as the championship battle between those three, if you can still consider him a championship contender. But
definitely he's still in a championship. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, this would be a good confidence booster for him for sure, to put him back where he knows he needs to be, and whatever steps he made to improve his motorcycle or his quad, he's going to carry that over to the next round and maybe tweak it a little bit more if he needs to.
He said, but he said that actually he was not satisfied with his bike until like Monday of this week. They did a lot of different work. They had some steering sim problems and some suspension problems that they rectified. He said up until Monday he was hoping it was going to rain this weekend. And he said after Monday he was like, now I don't want it to rain. I want to go out and let this baby eat and show him what I can do on this Yamaha out here. But regardless, we got the rain. Chris is doing what he needs to do, and that's keeping it in there.
Well, and there he is.
Yep. So he's doing what he needs to do. Is that second place, I believe?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was going to say. I didn't see anybody, but, a couple guys went through, and I think they were back markers, but I'm not 100% sure. But
well, we'll keep an eye out here for the next couple of moments. Again, we may have missed Bryson Neal. That's the hard part of watching a mud race on days like today. But look at that hillside right there. See the ruts that we saw develop. Look at the tree roots that are exposed on the side of that hill.
And those tree roots are actually not letting those guys dig down any deeper, so all that's doing is the tree roots are just getting more and more polished, so it's actually slipperier there every time they go up it, rather than getting some fresh dirt and grabbing some traction. So that hill's actually getting to be pretty slippery right now.
Yeah, and just to let you know, if you would think, oh wow, they're going to have those tree roots for traction, no, they get really wet and grimy, slimy. I mean, it's probably slicker than the mud in reality.
For sure. Once you get off that little bit of bark and that sap start coming out, them tree roots are slippery, and these guys are lucky they got 4 wheels. Wait till tomorrow when the bike guys have to go up that hill. That's going to be even more exciting. But
going to have some fun for sure as we watch and wait right now. Leader checked in an hour and 29 and a half minutes into the race, and there he is on screen at the 7-mile marker, still trudging along, man. No.
Somebody's got a lot of towels. Every time we see him go by, he's got a new towel, keeping his grips nice and clean and his hands dry. And
yeah, he's got some support.
Now we'll get another section here, see if Chris Borge is in second or if we did miss Bryson Neal or not.
Lap traffic coming through right now as they ease their way through the 7-mile mark right now. Is that the number 4? I believe that is McClure. If it is, he's either that 3rd or 4th place ride at this point, depending on where Bryson Neal happens to be. I'm venturing to say that Bryson, we probably missed Bryson. He hit another tree.
He's good at those trees, isn't he?
I don't mean to make fun, but we saw this happen early in the race last time. He got around that one okay, so he continues to motor along.
He was lucky. He had that little guy right there on the side of the track just happened to be at the right place at the right time and helped old Sneaky Snake push his quad back and get him going again. You know, and like I said, the track really isn't deteriorating as bad as we thought it would. It's getting some of them few deep ruts like that, but with those tree roots and stuff, it's kind of keeping the track above ground. It's not letting it dig down so deep. And, you know, there's spectators out there all the time. They're helping those guys and getting them fresh lines on those uphills in case they run into a bottleneck or something. They have some extra ways around, but I didn't see any of those happening out there today. So it looks like we've had some really good, clear racing, and it's going to be interesting to see. You know, Chris Fithel right now probably going through his mind is, okay, I'm in the lead still. This pit crew probably told me he had a 1.5 minute or so lead. Now is he starting to hear sounds of his quad making weird noises, or, you know, is he just thinking about getting his way to the finish line in one piece and winning in this race for himself and his pit crew, and sure would make his ride home a lot more fun.
Well, I got an update coming in off the track right now. I'm trying to get a hold of Barry Hawk. Hey, Barry Hawk, this is Rodney with Racer TV. Just checking in. I heard you might have an update on what's going on with Bryson.
Yeah, Rodney, I was just after the 1 mile marker, I was coming up through there, and Bryson and his dad, a bunch of spectators were along the track, and I ran up to him and said, "What's wrong?" He said, "The clutch went out of it." But then I kept looking at it, and here the rear brakes were locked up. So they closed and loosened the brake line and freed it up, and he took off again. So I don't know if he has any rear brakes or not, but that was definitely the problem. He couldn't go anywhere because the brakes were locked up.
10-4, thanks a lot, Barry Hawk, for that update.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That thing to happen.
That is unfortunate. There's Borich on your screen at the 7-mile marker, but that is more points. That's more points for Chris Borich, and I know that he's taken everything that he can take today, especially the circumstances. Now, the next big question is, what about Walker Fowler? As we look down through the overalls right now, I look down through. Hey, Barry Hawk, just a quick question. I'm looking down through, and I haven't seen anything out of Walker Fowler in quite some time. Actually, he disappeared there at the end of lap 3, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen Walker out there anywhere. This is one of those tracks where if you try to make too much happen, things end up going sideways for you. So that's my guess. I haven't heard any other updates on the radio where he's having problems. I'm guessing he's just pushing really hard and probably making some mistakes, and it's costing him time.
10-4, thanks a lot. So, wow, I mean, that can make some sense. I mean, Walker Fowler being in the position he was last year, I'm sure, you know, seeing that Chris Borich is making up ground, you know, there's got to be a lot of things going on in his mind. And on top of that, knowing that Adam was suffering from some mechanical issues, that had to be something else playing in his mind. Okay, I got to make up as many points as I can today. And if I'm reading this right, I'm going to go down through one more time. We got Bithell, Neal, Borich, McClure, Richardson, your top 5. Johnny Gallagher in 6th. Landon Wolf in 7th. Brian Wolf in 8th. 9th is Kevin Yoho. Braden Henthorne is 10th. Adam McGill in 11th. Cody Collier is 12th. Then we got Wesley Wolf, your top amateur. Top amateur in the College A class is 13th. Marty Christopherson is 14th. Fred Marley 15th. Kevin Cunningham 16th. Todd Demery 17th. That's your Bet A28 plus class leader now. Todd Demery from right here out of Indiana. Ryland Johnson is 18th overall, and then we've got Dustin Hendershot. You know, looking at that, Todd Demery, if things go his way and Wesley has problems on this last lap, we may see a Bet A28 plus guy with a top amateur overall today. But I'm going to look down a little further, Fred, and try to find out where Walker is in this overall right now. And this is big news for both Chris Borich, and for the 11th place ride currently of Adam McGill, who is going to make up some major points on Walker, stretch things out, but he's not going to lose as much to Chris Borich as what it looked like he was going to lose earlier in the day. Walker Fowler, 28th place right now, 0 points is what he's riding.
Rodney, he hasn't even checked in yet. So,
no.
You know, my guess is he's probably had some kind of mechanical failure out there, or he's gotten stuck, or, you know, it's not a good day for the Fowler camp. But, you know, all you can do is when something like this happens is lick your wounds, come back the next race, and be as strong as you can. So, you know, I'm not sure what his problem was today. Hopefully it's a mechanical and nothing wrong with him, and we'll find out. Hopefully Matt can give us an update on that.
Man, I am just blown away. I oftentimes expect the unexpected to take place, but I got to say, I never expected this much of a flip-flop, a turnaround, so to speak, with the way
mud race. Anything can happen, and everything does. It's like, no matter how fast you are or who you are, it's like everybody's on the same playing field. You know, it just eliminates everything, no matter what.
They don't care if you're Chris Borich with a brand new Yamaha rider, Walker Fowler, or Adam McGill with the mafia behind you or not.
Or Chris Bithell on a bike that they don't even sell anymore.
Right, exactly.
Right, that's Suzuki. So, you know, anything can happen there. It's the equalizer, the mud is.
Yeah, a very good point. The Suzuki still capable of winning races, and it has not been produced since, I think, 07 or 08. They may have produced some in 08. I'm not sure.
Right, but it's been a long time. All these other bikes are fresh, brand new, the latest technology, and, you know, Chris Bithell's got this bike going. He knows it inside, outside, and as you know, Chris Borich has won on it for all them years, so they're a good, dependable bike, and it's just showing you that you don't have to have a brand new bike to win.
That's right. You just got to have a heart and soul that wants to be a winner, and that's what we got, and that's what it takes. And I'm not saying all these guys don't want to be a winner today.
Right,
right. Today, though, Chris Bithell's heart and soul was a little bit wanting it a little bit more, it seems like. And at the same time, he's been afforded the right opportunities, luck, if you want to call it that, or just sheer talent to be able to take the opportunities presented to him and run with them the way that he has.
Right, you know, he's put himself in the position to win today. You know, when opportunity knocks, you got to be ready to answer the door, and Chris Bithell's done that today. He's got out there, got out in the lead, and he's rode strong all day long, kept himself out of trouble. At this point, it looks like he's kept his eyes clean because he didn't take any goggles the last lap, and he's still moving forward, so he's put himself in a position to win. So it's his race to lose right now. He had a nice big lead, and we saw him, at the 8-mile marker, I think, so he's only got like a mile and a half left to go. So it's his race to lose this last mile and a half.
Let's check in with Barry Honk. We just heard a report coming off the track. Barry, what's going on out there?
Yeah, Randy, right after I gave you that last update, I was going along the track there, and some people flagged me down and said that Bryson Neal needed a tow, and he smoked his clutches, so I just pulled him into his pit. He's done.
Wow, tough break there, man. And there's Bryson Neal, third place in the points. That's another big saving grace for Chris Borich. Is not going to score any points. I can't swear that, depending on whether or not he's able to hold the top 20, but I have to assume that people are going to be able to, there's going to be 20 people that are going to be able to make 4 laps out there. So we're going to say that the day is done for Bryson Neal. Tough break. No points going to be scored for him either. That's another advantage for Chris Borich. So, wow, all of a sudden, round number 5 has turned into a big ray of sunshine for our 6-time and defending GNCC champion.
Yeah, Ronnie, you know, this mud, today's really been a flip-flop on everything. We couldn't have called this race like this if we wanted to. You know, we never really would have thought that all this carnage and karma would have happened today, but it's all happened. And, you know, he may be gaining some points on it, but the big thing is that, you know, Adam McGill, he's the one who just keeps on plugging away, and he knows to be a champion, he's got to get as many points as he can, and that's exactly what he's doing, just taking himself. And there comes
Chris Bithell at the checker flag as Chris Bithell does it here in the great state of Indiana. The fist to the ground, or to the air, I should say, as the power went to the ground today. And here in the great state of Indiana, Chris Bithell, who announced his intentions to retire after this season, walks away with the best race he's seen since 2013 at the Gusher GNCC in Foxburg, Pennsylvania. Congratulations to Chris Bithell, taking the Suzuki to the top of the box here today and had a 1-minute and 16-second lead over second place at last check. And now it's just a matter of celebration time while he waits for his buddies to check in. Is it going to be Chris Borch? I believe it will be. But look at this. Jared McClure may get that opportunity to snake his way right back onto the podium again, and that is going to kind of intensify the point standings also, because all of a sudden Bryson Neal's third-place position becomes very, very threatened, and if he drops to fourth with good races by Jared McClure, all of a sudden that position becomes threatened. So what the points are going to shake down like after this one, Fred, it's going to be rather interesting, and as we head into the heart of this championship and the halfway point of the season, we couldn't have asked for a better scenario to start unfolding.
Yeah, Rodney, that's just to show you. We got so many guys here that are capable of winning and doing good that these points are really going to flip-flop around out there today. And with Bryson Neal, you know, he's had a little bit of bad luck out there, but he's going to bounce back, and he'll get his clutch problems fixed out. And like I said, the mud, you know, could have been, he could have got a piece of rock or dirt stuck in there, and the brake pedal could have got stuck on, and it could have got the brakes hot, and they could have locked up. So there's a lot of things that happen in a mud race. You know, it's just anything and everything can happen. And Johnny Gallagher, look at him. He's been out there, and he's been doing good this year, but today he's really stepped it up. And
he's going to get a top 5,
Bryson Neal stepping out, he could actually have a top 5.
And a top 4 in class,
top
5
in class,
overall. I mean, that, yeah, like you said, the best finish we've seen in Johnny in quite some time. Actually, since his third place finish 2 years ago, and I think it was 2013, that he took at the General GNCC round 2. So, wow, way to go, Johnny GNCC. I can't stop at Johnny G anymore, man. It's Johnny GNCC. He is the poster child. 20 years as an ATV pro here in the GNCC racing. He has been racing some 30 years of GNCC itself, almost the entire series itself. I think the series is, what, 40, 41 years old or something like that, and he has been racing 30 of those years. Crazy.
He's old. You know, but
he's only
hats off
37.
to Chris Bithell. You know, he won today, and he won convincingly. You know, he's probably with
Hey,
Chris
here he is.
Borch coming in here, so we'll see how far ahead. But I mean, Chris Bithell just put it to him today.
He did, and here it is. How about it? It's not first in the across the finish line, but it's a first in the heart of this 6-time champion. We're talking about Chris Borch making his way around and finally found his groove back here in 2015. Chris Borch takes second place here in Indiana today, folks, and what a ride for sure, as we have seen both these killer bees, as we like to call them in years past. They have certainly made well, the season exciting, the racing exciting, and this championship obviously has certainly gotten to a fever pitch as far as that is concerned. So first and second place are in 3 minutes and 4 seconds. That's the biggest margin of victory I've seen in an ATV race, I think,
I would
ever.
have to say Chris Borch probably just said,
yeah.
you know what, I'm not going to catch up. I'm not going to do anything stupid. I'm going to back it off a little bit. I'm going to take second place. It's like a win to Chris right now. You know, he just wanted to get that good finish in, and now he's going to work on winning a race and going after him. But, you know, Chris Bithell rode a great race today. Chris Borch did a great job. Now third place. We'll see if Jared McClure comes in or if Cole Richardson can catch him or not, because I'm not sure how close
And here comes old Sneaky Snake making his way in. You mentioned his name, and the snake comes sliding through the grass right there, my friends. He did it again. He rode all day long, seemingly back there just outside of podium potential or podium finishes, and he does it again on the final lap. Things fall into order, and the Sneaky Snake is making his way around. And how about it for Jared McClure, ladies and gentlemen, as he takes his second consecutive podium, a third-place position finish. And there it is. We have Chris Bithell, Chris Borch, and Jared McClure, your top 3 overall here at this Limestone 100 GNCC. And Fred Andrews, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back down at the podium here shortly, where Megawatt Matt Watson is going to be joining in. And
love racing, all kinds of racing? How about pro motocross, flat track, road race, ATV, GNCC, Supermoto, Enduro Cross? Well, we've got what you're looking for. Welcome to the Racer X Show with Greg White, presented by Chaparral Motorsports. New every Tuesday on RacerTV.com.
This Racer TV live broadcast is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. By Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. By Maxxis Tires, find your flow. And powered by Yamaha Generators.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here from Springville, Indiana, and the Lawrence County Recreation Park, all here at this beautiful Lawrence County facility. And round 5 of the AMSOIL GNCC series coming to a close as we see it already. Chris Bithell, his first win since Foxburg, Pennsylvania in 2013, almost 2 years ago. Chris Borich back on the podium since round 1, where he finished, I believe it was 3rd place, if memory serves me correct, but Borich back in position and right where he wants to be. He's finishing up 2nd. The Sneaky Snakes, 2 races in a row. This is going to be phenomenal for his points. The big news is, again, is Bryson Neal towed in on that last lap, and believe it or not, Walker Fowler also having some issues and still has not checked in, I don't think, as we take a look at our Twitter winner now. Congratulations to Josh Osborne at OsborneJosh42. Borich, Bithell, Neal. Wow, he got the Borich and Bithell part names right. Didn't get them in the right order. But look when he tweeted that. 11:13 a.m. he tweeted that. So Josh Osborne, congratulations. You just won $250 in AMSOIL product. I'm telling you something. Believe it or not, Brett, I think a lot of our Racer TV folks are starting to pick up on this whole thing, you know?
Yeah, Rodney, I think you're definitely right. Those guys are starting to see what we see, you know. They're picking out the right guys, and it's not always the guy who you think's going to win. And,
right. They look at conditions. They look at everything, and they weigh it all out, man. I mean, that was a great pick by Josh Osborne. If I'm not mistaken, I think that might be a fellow I know from close to my hometown down in Jackson County in Ohio, man. So regardless if it is or ain't, congratulations to him. Cole Richardson checks in 4th overall. That's your winner in the XC2 Pro-Am class. Brian Wolf takes 4th in class, 5th overall. What happened to Johnny G. Wiz Gallagher?
There you go. This mud race. Somehow Johnny might have picked the wrong line here in the last lap, and it looks like he's fallen back a few. But, you know, Brian Wolf, he came in the first lap. He came in the pits. He was working on his bike or something like that, and he lost a lot of positions. He got back out there and kept his head down and came out with a 5th place, 4th in class. So that's an awesome ride for him.
No doubt. And Cole Richards, you just got to tip your hat to that young man. He is looking for overall podiums. I've talked to him about that. He wants to win class. That's obviously first and foremost. And he's got plenty of competition, but he knows that competition is able to help push him and elevate him into a position to run top overall positions. Maybe eventually, hopefully, he's thinking get into a position where he can. Sounds like Matt's mic's a little bit hot. Matt, turn your volume down on the gain on your microphone down a little bit, buddy. That's where we're getting that feedback back there. But regardless, excuse me, we are about ready to go down to the podium here in just a few moments, and the amazing things happening. Walker Fowler, I'm going to see if he's even checked in for lap 3 complete. Remember, he hadn't even checked in for the 3rd lap complete a short time ago. And nope. He's 45th overall right now. Now, this might be good news for Bryson Neal, because if only 45 people have completed 3 laps so far, that 4th lap, maybe there'll be less, and maybe he might be closer to a top 20 than we realize, but we'll just have to wait and see. But, man, big things happening. Sneaky Snake, look at the big smile he's got on his face. Chris Borich, I haven't seen him smile like that in quite some time. And look at the laugh.
Yeah, you know, they all got clean jerseys on for their sponsors. You know, Chris Borich knows he's come a long way. He's had some bad luck. He's got things figured out. You know, 2nd place to him is like a win today, and he knows he rode well and they had fun, and, you know, they're all smiling.
Johnny G checking in 6th place overall. And look there, there's one of your former riders and the national enduro champion in that Rockstar Energy Drink Husqvarna jacket right there, Andrew DeLong.
And there's Nick Davis there beside him. Those guys are both really good friends with Chris Borch. They all go down to Florida. You know, the four-wheel guys and the dirt bike guys, they all train together. They ride together during the winter, so they become really good friends. And, you know, it's good that they all push each other. And right now, you know, they're probably out there cheering for him, and they're happy he does good. And, you know, and sometimes Chris even stays on Sunday to watch them and cheer them on. So it's great seeing the camaraderie.
It most certainly is, and great camaraderie here in the GNCC Racing Nation as we check over the finish line. There's old Kenny Hill right there, the media manager, the media, social media guru, I guess you could call it. Look at that right there, the big smile, Chris Bithell. This is a place that he's wanted to be, and places he's needed to be for quite some time. I mean,
he forgot to bring a clean jersey. Everybody else has got a clean one. Chris, you need to get that clean shirt on. You did a great job today, and I see they got the quad all nice cleaned up so the show his sponsors off, but man, that's just nobody happier than him right now, Rodney.
No, there is, and rightfully so, man. I mean, you come in with the grassroots program that he had to rebuild a couple of years ago. He was the first and last rider to have a full-on factory sponsorship. He rode with the Warner Can-Am folks for so many years under the guidance and direction of the Can-Am folks, and you know, had some good races and some good wins and some monumental things. Took that bike to all new levels and helped really develop that whole program there. And to see that program go away and to be left virtually with nothing in the end, the way that he has, and to be able to turn it around like that, it's good to see him back up top. The fruits of his labor have certainly paid off as we see our podium beginning to fill. Gather round down, folks, and get ready for the celebrations that are getting set to take place down there, as we see that our final spot has been filled onto the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our top 3 overall. In 3rd place today, the number 1 of Chris Borch. 2nd place going to the the number 4 of Jared McClure, 3rd place. 2nd place, the number 1 of Chris Borch. And the number 1 spot in the center of the box to the number 7 of Chris Bethel, ladies and gentlemen, your Limestone 100 GNCC winner. We're going to head down to Megawatt Matt Watson and see if we can't get a word in with our top 3 overall here today. Matt, I tell you, what a race.
I'm telling you what, Rodney, this is about one of the most exciting races I've seen in ages. All kinds of action right down to the last lap. So we're just going to get the story from the guys themselves right now. Our man Jared McClure. Start off with a hole shot, Jared. Got out front to an early lead. Worked hard for 2 hours. Man, oh man, end up with the 3rd spot on the box. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, like you said, I got the whole shot. First one of the year. Got a new 24-volt this year. I was always kicking, but, you know, I switched over to the batteries. Got 2 Alliant batteries in there. Dirtworks makes the box. 24 volts, super reliable. It's awesome. Said I'm pumped. Got my first whole shot. And, you know, I was a little skeptical at first. I was kind of taking it easy. It was real muddy and so many lines. I made a bad choice and kind of went up this really big rut. And I think Walker, maybe even Bithell got around me there, but just kind of fell in line. I was trying to just be smart and learn some lines and just, you know, pick different spots here and there to come back next lap and take. Because I'm telling you, there were so many lines. So somewhere else, Bryson and Chris got by me. You know, I said there was just so many options. So I got behind them. I was probably like 5th, I guess, or 4th. And slowly we started just catching lappers, and they just made it tough. I mean, you'd come up on one and, you know, you'd think he's getting through the line fine, and then he'd bury it, and you'd be behind him trying to get him, or it just was like that all day, up and down, and then I hooked up with Fowler for a while, and we both ran a good lap. I mean, he was behind me. He got around me. I said I got stuck on a lapper, and I guess something happened to him. I saw him hitting, but he was rolling pretty good. I thought maybe we had a chance to catch these guys, but I don't know. Anyway, it was an up and down day, and, you know, I didn't even see Bryson was out of running there, so it was kind of a surprise to me coming in 3rd. So definitely excited, man.
Well, it was a heck of an effort, man. Heck of a ride. You know you don't do this alone. I know there's a lot of people you want to thank for getting you up here, and who are they?
Definitely got to thank the pit crew here with me today in the mud. I mean, that's everything. You need good people in the pits. So, you know, my girlfriend, Mark, Coyote, Jordan, everybody that was here. Randy for coming with me to the races. Then, you know, I got to thank all my sponsors. Harlan Foley, ATV Riders, big part of my program, as always. John Bowers from Bowers Motorcycle Supplies. Just built me this motor, and, you know, if it held up in this, I think it's pretty good to hold up in anything. Definitely want to thank Elka Suspension, Douglas Tires and Wheels, my girlfriend Sierra, HMF, Spider Graphics, Texera Tech, Elka Suspension, Alliant Batteries, Baldwin. I mean, this motor ripped me to that whole shot, and I mean, I was beating on it for 2 hours, and it didn't skip a beat. KG Clutches, Works Connection, Impact Solutions, Scott Goggles, Glad Innovations, Bell Helmets, Weisco, Dirtworks, DP Brakes, Bellray, Forworks, Precision, MotoPro Training. Mark, he's here with me today, and you know, he's the reason for my fitness and why I was able to go in this heavy mud. So definitely got to thank Mark. Pivot Works, Hot Rods, Power Mad, Sunstar, Moose Racing. You know, I might have repeated a couple there. It's kind of hard to see, but thanks GNCC, all the fans. You know, it was exciting out there.
Well, I want to tell you something. There you have it. Jared McClure and company getting third place, man. All that help and support. Put your hands together for third place today. Jared McClure. Let's hear it. Give it up for him. We'll make our way over here to a guy I've been waiting to talk to for a while. My old buddy Chris Borsch, man. Chris, you know, you and I have had some conversations in the pits here and there on the side and stuff. And, you know, you're always got this PMA, this positive mental attitude. You've always got the plan. And, you know, seems like a couple short straws maybe this season for you. And, hey, anything can and will happen in GNCC. You put your head down today. You got with it, man. Tell us what happened out there.
Yeah, we had a good start there. And, like I said, we had some bad luck there at the first couple of races, just going to a new machine and just trying to figure out all the bugs. And last race, I mean, it was kind of a bummer for me. It was just, I knew there was something wrong with the bike. I was just all over the place. But here today, it worked awesome. It was just one of these tracks that you just kept your momentum up, tried to be smooth, find some good lines. And I can't thank all the guys out in the woods out there, the Hart family, the McCormicks, Dougie, just everybody out there pointing me lines and giving me towels. I mean, it was a hard work out there, just trying to hang on to this bike and keep it going.
With the setup you ran today, did the track come to you a bit? Did it seem to work better as we went on, or, you know, just typical gain more weight, you know, lose a little handling and stuff throughout the race?
Yeah, it was definitely like that. I mean, I don't even know how much weight we put on, but it was definitely heavy. And like I said, it was just one of those days where you just got to keep your momentum, be smooth, and watch out for the lappers in front of you stuck. So, but yeah, worked. I think we're in the right direction, and looking forward to it. So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to thank all my my mom, my dad. My dad especially, he's been working real hard with me with the motors and building these things, and a lot of time on these bikes. And talking to a bunch of people like Big B&R Racing, Ryan, he's been helping me out with just questions, asking him some help. And I mean, like I said, the McCormicks, the Hart family, Yamaha themselves. I mean, Maxxis tires were hooking up awesome out there today. Walsh, Fox, Hinton Racing. My buddy John, he was my mechanic before he came here and helped me out a bunch. And my fiance Dawn. I mean, just everybody that's behind me on this program. It's hard to see all my sponsors, but I mean, you know who they are. You can see my bike, and I appreciate everybody's help.
Well, I want to tell you something. These folks got a show here today from you three guys, that's for sure. Put your hands together for second place today, Chris Borsch. Right on, and that leaves one more spot, man. This guy's been smiling about for the last 10 minutes. He come off, we pulled the banner down, and you could see that smile underneath the mud, man, by the time he come through the finish line. So let me tell you something, Chris. I know that you work really hard. I know that this has been on your mind a little bit this season so far. You know, I know that you really wanted to put together a day like today, and man, oh man, just tell us how it went from the start.
Yeah, you know, what a day. You know, look at the conditions we're in right now, and you can see how muddy we were. We were just fighting tooth and nail all day. You know, I got off to a pretty good start. You know, I've been working on whole shots. ATV Innovations motor was pulling real well right off the start, and then I think I went into the woods third and just sat there. You know, it's a mud race, going to play survival all day long, but, you know, I really wasn't that worried about it. And then Jared made a little bobble. Me and Walker got around him, and me and Walker took off. Walker, he had a little get off in a bottom and slow to get up. I was able to get around him there and never looked back pretty much. You know, I just rode all day thinking they were right on my bumper and never lifted, never let off. Really, I got to thank and just dedicate this race to all these fans, everybody helping me today. There is no way any of us could have rode this race today without you guys in the woods. We had no idea. You know, every line looked just like the line before there, and it was just as deep, just as nasty. And, I mean, these guys are really helping us through there. Everybody today was just on it, and I really appreciate that. Can't thank you enough.
Awesome. Well, there it is. You guys heard it right there. This guy thanking you all for being out here in the weather, thanking you all for all your support. Now, I know you got a few sponsors that you definitely want to thank for getting you up here.
You know, definitely got to thank my whole family. You know, the guys, my wife Chelsea, the guys at Coastal Racing actually pitted me today. You know, I got to thank them guys enough. Everybody else back home, my motor builder, parts guys, you know, Brian, Dougie today, those guys are awesome running through these woods. My buddy Joe, you guys are just back and forth, and I couldn't do it without everybody that helps me out. I know I saw everybody out there just helping me through these lines. It's tough. We can't remember everything. So, you know, it goes out to those guys. It goes out to my friends, my family that helps me out, because without them, you know, I wouldn't even be here. It don't matter what sponsors I have or nothing like that. It's my friends and family to keep me going. But, you know, behind the scenes and helping me with all the product out here, you know, I only run the best. And I got to, you know, really thank everybody there with Maxxis Tires. Everything was hooking up well today. Precision Stabilizers, Yield, Cycle Barn, Hyper Wheels, Fox Shocks, Walsh Components, Graphics, IndyWorks Graphics, Forworks Carbon, HMF, Fly, IQ, and everybody else, you know, thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, Chris Bithell on the top spot today. Give it up for your top 3 overall. And it's time for that champagne shower right now. Let's get these guys to the front of the podium. These kids right here are waiting on it, Chris. Get on it, man. Drowned them.
Well, folks, as we always like to say here in the GNCC Racing Nation, it is a great, great day to be a part of something so spectacular and so special. Put your hands together one more time, ladies and gentlemen, for our top 3 overall. Jared Sneaky Snake McClure, Chris Borge, and again, Mr. Chris Bithell, your overall winner here at the Limestone 100 GNCC. And here comes the fun part for these guys. I know they're cold. They've worked hard today. They pushed hard. It's time to celebrate the right way. And, of course, to the victor goes the spoils, as they always say. And as we say here in GNCC, the spoils are the sweet, sweet spray of champagne.
Poor Chris Bithell hasn't done this for a while. He forgot.
Look at that. He's going to make it happen, though.
He's going to bust the top off if he has to.
He'll reach over and just click it off his bike here in just a second. He'll get this. Look, Chris Borge, or Chris Bith, yeah, Chris Borge.
There we go.
The sweet, sweet spray of champagne, ladies and gentlemen. What fun. What fun, no doubt about that these guys are having out here. And, you know, 3 good buddies, no doubt about it, that have a chance to share the podium today. Chris Bithell, Chris Borge, Jared McClure. Also, congratulations to Cole Richardson, your winner in the XC2 Pro-Am class. He got 4th overall, winning the class. Brian Wolf takes 5th overall, 4th in class. Johnny Gallagher, 5th in class, 6th overall. Landon Wolf, he'll get 7th overall, 6th in class. Cody Collier, 2nd in the XC2 Pro-Am class. He's 8th overall. Adam McGill, 9th place. Sorry about that, Fred. Sorry about that. But Adam McGill just got 9th place. That's remarkable. That's overall points. Talk about some major points. And, man, Walker Fowler just saw that points lead stretch out there quite a bit while Chris Borge made a few points up. There's a buffer zone there that Adam McGill is still able to enjoy. So what a great salvage day. Marty Christopherson, 3rd in the XC2 Pro-Am, rounds out your top 10 overall. But, Fred, we talked about it earlier today, man. Championships are won on days like today. Adam McGill, by no stretch of the imagination, has won a championship as we have, or we're just now actually reaching the halfway point of this. But it was a ride today that he put forth that we will look back on and say, that's what won this championship.
Yeah, Rodney, today was super exciting. As you said, a lot of different variables happened. People had bike troubles. People came back from their troubles and put in good finishes. Chris Bithell came out here and rode an excellent race and won. He hasn't won in a long time, so maybe the next mud race when we make our Twitter prediction, we're going to put him at the top because he seems to be a mud guy.
He most certainly does. Hey, coming up events, we're going to be back again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That's our estimated time of start for our motorcycle racing here to Limestone 100 GNCC. And then, of course, don't forget to tune in on Tuesday evenings for the Racer X show each and every week. But in 2 weeks, we're going to be heading to the Tomahawk. That's up in New York, up near the Seneca Highlands. For Saturday, May 9th, will be Tomahawk ATVs. Sunday, May 10th, Tomahawk Bikes will be taking place there. And then Saturday, May 16th, we're going to have live ATV motocross. Saturday, May 16th from High Point Raceway. ATV motocross live right here on racertv.com. I'm telling you, we've got monumental things that are ahead of us as far as racertv.com is concerned and as far as the upcoming 2015 GNCC series. And don't forget also, we not only have racertv.com here and all racing all the time, but don't forget our NBC Sports upcoming episode. Sunday, May 3rd kicks it all off. Episode 1, the Wild Boar GNCC. You get to relive all the highlights from that. May 17th will be the General GNCC at 5 o'clock. 5:30, Steel Creek GNCC is coming up on May 24th, and Saturday, May 30th, was going to be the Big Buck GNCC at 2 o'clock. We saw that just a couple of weeks ago live ourselves, and you can check things out at GNCCRacing.com where we've got our complete broadcast schedule. Fred Andrews, and that is a good way to keep up with things. I mean, we got all racing all the time, all archived right here as far as the GNCC Live is concerned, but if you want some of the highlight shows on NBC, you can check those out, and NBC Sports, we certainly want to see that happen. Well, Fred, final thoughts heading into, wrapping this one up, I guess.
Turn my mic on first. But no, it goes to show you, you know what? The race is never over till it's over. This mud race, anything can happen and did happen today. You know, we thought the race was going to go one way. It turned and went another. Some people gained points. Some people lost points. A new winner for a long time. That just shows the depth of the four-wheel racers that we have, you know. It's not one guy dominating the sport anymore.
Nope.
And that makes everything exciting for everybody at home, for us as we commentate on it, and I can't wait to get to the next race.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think a lot of the race fans are feeling that way, and we've seen 2 great seasons so far. Well, last season, 1 complete season of GNCC racing that was as good for the sport of racing that I think any championship could have been. And, you know, we hyped it up, we talked about it, and we hyped, and I honestly do a lot of hype, and sometimes I even think to myself, there's no way that we can live up to the hype that I'm building here. But believe it or not, we're far exceeding any and everything that I even thought was possible. I'm excited to see what happens at the next ATV race, but I know tomorrow we got more good things going on, so be sure and join us back here again tomorrow at 1 o'clock as the bikes will take off at our Limestone 100 GNCC. On behalf of Fred Andrews, Megawatt Matt Watson, and all of our RacerTV.com staff, I'm Rodney Tomlin saying, great day, everybody.